Welcome to Mr. Sleepy Stories. Tonight, we'll speak softly about dolphins. These graceful travelers of the sea move through the water with quiet intelligence and gentle hearts. Each breath, each ripple tells a story of calm connection, of creatures who live by rhythm, kindness, and song. So let the sound of the ocean and their peaceful world carry you toward rest. If you enjoy what I do here, please like, subscribe, and share your experience with this video topic in the comments below. I love reading your stories and hearing how these calm facts help you unwind before sleep. Out there, where the sea turns quiet under moonlight, dolphins drift into a kind of half-dream. They rest, but never completely. One side of their brain slows down. The eyelid on that side closes, and the other eye stays open, calmly watching the world. It's called unihemispheric slow-wave sleep, a term that sounds scientific but describes something beautifully simple: the art of sleeping and staying awake at the same time. For dolphins, breathing isn't automatic like it is for us. Every breath is a conscious choice. Even at rest, they have to think, "Time to breathe." So evolution found a gentle compromise. Let one hemisphere of the brain rest while the other remains alert. It's as if the mind takes turns napping. One half dreams of ocean calm, the other half stands guard, patient and aware. When you picture a dolphin sleeping, don't imagine it curled up or sinking deep. Instead, it floats slowly near the surface, rising every few minutes to exhale a soft sigh through its blowhole, huff, and then breathe in again before drifting back down. The motion is so calm it looks like the sea itself is breathing with them. Sometimes they rest while gently swimming in slow circles, keeping close to the group. The awake hemisphere helps them steer, coordinate, and avoid drifting too far. It's a delicate rhythm, half of the body at peace, half of it moving with intention. For mother dolphins and their calves, this half-sleep is even more tender. The mother's awake side always faces the calf, keeping an eye on her little one as they drift together. When she switches sides to rest the other half of her brain, the calf mirrors her. It's like synchronized dreaming, one of the quietest, most loving acts in the ocean. Researchers studying dolphins found that after many hours of unihemispheric sleep, the awake side finally rests too, switching places in perfect balance. Over time, both halves of the brain get equal rest, yet the dolphin never loses awareness. They never surrender completely, but they never rush either. Everything happens at a slow, mindful rhythm. In a way, this habit mirrors how they live: aware, social, protective, yet peaceful. Dolphins can't afford the deep, motionless sleep that humans do. The ocean asks for constant awareness, but they've turned it into something tranquil rather than stressful. Half asleep, half awake, but entirely serene. So the next time you see calm waves under starlight, imagine a dolphin drifting there. One eye open to the silver glow above, the other closed to dream of endless blue below. A creature that mastered the balance between vigilance and rest, between life's awareness and the comfort of sleep.
When a dolphin dives beneath the surface, something remarkable happens inside its body. Its heartbeat begins to slow, almost as if syncing with the rhythm of the sea. This isn't fear or effort, it's peace. Scientists call it bradycardia, but you could simply call it nature's version of deep breathing. It's the dolphin's way of telling its body, we're safe, slow down. Every time a dolphin takes a breath at the surface, it fills its lungs with air, but not to rush or panic. It's a patient ritual. Then, as it glides downward, the body automatically adjusts. The heart rate drops, sometimes by half. Muscles relax. Blood is gently redirected toward the brain, lungs, and heart, the organs that must never rest, while other areas quietly wait. It's an orchestra of stillness, perfectly timed for survival and calm. What makes this even more beautiful is that it's not forced. Dolphins don't decide to do this. It's an instinct they're born with. The ocean teaches them early. Stay calm, move slow, and your air will last longer. No rush, no panic, just rhythm. While humans often hold their breath with tension, dolphins do the opposite. They descend in grace, their entire body adjusting like a heartbeat in meditation. You can almost hear it, thump, 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 softer, slower, as the water deepens. This reflex not only saves energy, but also keeps their movements fluid and unhurried. A dolphin in bradycardia looks almost weightless. Each motion is a whisper, each turn effortless, as if gravity itself pauses for them. When they rise again toward the light, their heartbeat gradually returns to normal. The pulse quickens, the lungs fill with fresh air, and the body resets. It's a seamless flow between two states, stillness and motion, depth and surface. No stress, just a quiet rhythm between worlds. Dolphin mothers even show this rhythm to their calves. When diving together, the young ones mirror the slowing pace, learning early how to move with patience instead of haste. It's not just biology, it's wisdom passed down through generations of calm breathers. There's something deeply human about that lesson, too. Dolphins remind us that slowing down doesn't mean weakness. It means efficiency, control, and peace. By letting their hearts slow, they gain time, distance, and calm awareness of their surroundings. Next time you watch the sea, think of that quiet pulse beneath the surface, a heartbeat that slows not from fear, but from perfect composure. The dolphin doesn't fight the depth, it listens to it. It moves with the ocean's tempo, turning each dive into a soft meditation, a gentle heartbeat that echoes the calmest side of nature itself. In the calm blue shallows, where light filters down like silk, a newborn dolphin takes its very first breath. The mother stays right beside it, her fin brushing gently against her baby's skin. But it's not just touch that connects them. There's a sound, soft, rhythmic, and full of warmth, a series of gentle clicks and whistles that ripple through the water. It's her lullaby. Dolphin mothers start this song almost immediately after birth. Scientists call it a signature whistle, but it feels far more intimate than that. Each mother creates her own distinct sound pattern, almost like a name sung over and over in a soft tone. The calf listens, memorizes it, and soon learns to answer back.
In the vast openness of the ocean, this becomes their tether, an invisible line of love carried through sound. When you picture dolphins, you might imagine playful chatter, but a mother's lullaby is different. It's slower, gentler, less about communication and more about reassurance. The clicks echo softly through the water, vibrating against the calf's body like a heartbeat. It says, "I'm here. You're safe." Even as waves pass and currents shift, the calf can always find that sound, that steady, familiar rhythm. This melody isn't random. Researchers have discovered that the mother's signature whistle repeats more often and with greater consistency during the first few weeks after birth. It's a kind of vocal imprinting, a way of teaching the newborn who its mother is among all the sounds of the sea. For a dolphin calf, identity begins not with sight, but with sound. Sometimes the mother combines these clicks with soft nudges, teaching her calf how to breathe and dive. Every few minutes, she guides it upward with a gentle push, helping it break the surface for air. Between dives, she hums her underwater song again, a pattern of care and patience repeated endlessly, like rocking a baby to sleep. Other members of the pod often swim nearby, keeping a respectful distance. They know this is sacred time, the quiet bonding between mother and child. In those moments, the ocean feels like a cradle. Over time, the calf learns to whistle back, a smaller, higher echo of its mother's call. Their voices weave together like a duet, resonating softly through miles of open water. Even years later, after the calf grows and swims with others, it can still recognize that original sound. The mother's lullaby never truly fades. In the end, it's a reminder that even in the wild, where survival shapes every moment, tenderness endures. A dolphin's song isn't just a tool, it's affection made audible. Beneath the waves, a mother hums to her baby, and the ocean listens. A quiet, eternal bond, spoken in the language of calm. If you could swim among dolphins long enough, you'd notice something almost human in the way they call to one another. Beneath the splashes and playful chirps, there's a distinct rhythm, certain tones that repeat only when one dolphin wants another's attention. Those sounds aren't random. They're names. Each dolphin creates its own unique whistle when it's just a few months old. It's like choosing a melody to represent who they are. Scientists call it a signature whistle, a sound pattern so individual that no two dolphins ever share the same one. Once chosen, that sound becomes their lifelong identity. When dolphins travel in pods, you'll hear layers of communication. Clicks for navigation, high-pitched squeaks for play, and woven among them these signature whistles, names floating through the water. One dolphin might whistle a familiar pattern, and from far off, another will answer back with recognition. It's a gentle roll call across the sea. What's even more extraordinary is that dolphins use these names deliberately. They don't just shout them into the void, they direct them. A dolphin can call another specifically, repeating that individual's whistle until it responds. It's the animal equivalent of saying, "Hey, you," but with far more grace. Researchers have tested this in the wild and found that when a dolphin hears its own signature whistle recorded and played back, it reacts instantly, turning toward the sound, curious and alert. When it hears another dolphin's name, it doesn't respond. That level of distinction shows a powerful sense of self. In other words, dolphins don't just know who others are. They know who they are. Over time, these signature whistles become woven into relationships. Mothers repeat their calves' names softly to reinforce them. Friends within a pod remember each other's whistles even after years apart. When groups meet, they exchange introductions through sound, a polite acknowledgement across specific lines. It's remarkable to think about. In the vast, shifting ocean where faces blur and currents move constantly, dolphins rely on sound as memory. Every whistle carries not just a name, but a history, shared play, journeys, and friendship. And it's not just utility, there's beauty in it. Listening to a dolphin pod can feel like hearing a chorus of introductions, a melodic version of "I'm here" and "I remember you." They live in a world where identity is sung, not seen. When you think about it, this might be one of the calmest forms of intelligence in nature. No shouting, no fighting for attention, just soft names carried gently through the water. Every dolphin has its melody, and in that melody lives a story, one that echoes through waves, reminding us that even in silence, connection finds a voice.
In the quiet rhythm of the sea, where life moves at the pace of tides, a mother dolphin glides with her calf pressed close to her side. You can almost see the rhythm between them, one body smaller, mimicking every turn, every dive, every gentle breath. For the first 6 years of its life, that calf will rarely leave her. From the moment it's born, a dolphin calf knows one truth: stay close to its mother. In the first hours, she guides it upward to take its first breath, supporting its small body with her own. That closeness never truly fades. They swim in perfect synchronization, the calf just behind her pectoral fin, always within sight, always within the soft field of her protective awareness. This long bond is more than maternal instinct, it's mentorship. A dolphin calf must learn everything about survival: how to hunt without frightening the fish, how to interpret the clicks and whistles of its pod, how to read the currents, and how to breathe calmly through long dives. None of this is taught in haste. It takes years of watching, imitating, and practicing under the patient eye of a mother who teaches through example. When danger appears, she reacts first, guiding her calf behind her, shielding it with her body. When the ocean is calm, she teaches through play, tossing seaweed for the calf to catch, nudging it gently when it succeeds. Each game hides a lesson. Their communication never stops. The mother uses her signature whistle like a lullaby, calling to her calf even when they're only a few meters apart. It's as if she's saying, "Stay near, I'm here." The calf answers in smaller, higher tones, repeating what will one day become its own distinct voice. Through these constant exchanges, a dolphin learns not only language, but connection, how to belong in a world made of sound. Over the years, the calf grows more confident, exploring a little farther each day, but always returning to that familiar silhouette.
The ocean is vast, yet to a young dolphin, safety has a shape, and it's the curve of its mother's fin in the light. Even when independence finally comes, the bond remains. Adult dolphins have been observed reuniting with their mothers years later, greeting them with unmistakable joy. They remember. The affection doesn't end when the lessons are done. It simply changes form. Among the many wonders of the dolphin world, this lifelong closeness might be the most touching. It's proof that intelligence and tenderness often live side by side. A mother dolphin doesn't rush her young to grow. She teaches them to move with the calm confidence of the sea itself. 6 years may pass, but that bond, once formed, drifts on quietly, as steady and unbroken as the tide. When dawn spreads across the sea and the sky begins to blush with light, there are moments of deep stillness that almost feel sacred. If you looked closely, you might see a small group of dolphins floating just below the surface, perfectly calm, their fins barely moving. The ocean looks empty at first until a soft breath breaks the silence, a quiet exhale through a blowhole, followed by a delicate inhale. Then stillness again. This is how dolphins greet the sunrise, not with leaps or play, but with rest. It's their version of a slow morning, a time when half their brain is asleep and the other half keeps a gentle watch. They hover between worlds, the world of dreams and the world of awareness. The light touches the water, and they drift within it like thoughts between waking and sleep. During this time, each dolphin maintains subtle control, tiny muscle movements that keep them afloat. They don't sink or stir much. They simply exist in rhythm with the sea. The sun warms the surface, and the first shimmer of light filters down through the water, wrapping around their smooth gray skin. The ocean, usually filled with chatter and clicks, is quiet. Even their communication softens to small, low pulses, the language of rest. Scientists observing these moments say that dolphins appear motionless, but the truth is gentler. They're still breathing, still aware, but resting in a kind of suspended peace. It's a survival instinct turned into art, conserving energy, maintaining safety, and sharing calm as a group. Often, the entire pod floats together, their bodies arranged loosely in a line or small circle, like friends lying side by side under the morning sky. The stillness of this scene is almost human, like watching someone rest after a long night. But dolphins never close both eyes. One remains open, keeping a quiet watch for anything unfamiliar. That small detail turns their rest into something beautiful. Awareness without anxiety, vigilance without fear. As the sun climbs higher, the mood changes. Gradually, they begin to stir. Small tail flicks, slow turns, the first curious clicks echoing through the water. The pod wakes together, ready to travel, hunt, or play. The morning peace fades into motion, yet something of that calm lingers in every glide and every breath. There's something timeless about it, the idea that even in the open ocean, surrounded by endless movement, life makes space for stillness. Dolphins remind us that rest doesn't have to be complete surrender. It can be gentle awareness, quiet balance.
If you ever find yourself near calm seas at sunrise, watch the water carefully. You might just see them, silverbacks glinting softly beneath the light, resting on the ocean's surface like reflections of dawn itself. In the calm shallows of tropical bays, where sunlight dances in ribbons beneath the surface, dolphins sometimes gather for a game that serves no purpose at all except joy. You might see one glide slowly along the sandy bottom, pick up a strand of seagrass with its mouth, and flick it toward another. The second dolphin catches it perfectly, spins in a lazy circle, and sends it drifting back. No hunting, no tension, just play. This quiet exchange has been observed countless times by divers and marine biologists. The dolphins don't eat the grass or use it for anything practical. They simply enjoy it, the way it floats, the way it moves with their breath. Sometimes they carry it balanced on their snouts like a baton. Other times they let it flutter upward, only to catch it again with a graceful sweep of the fin. It's the ocean's version of tossing a ball beneath the sun. These small games say a lot about who dolphins are. They are thinkers and feelers, creatures who can turn the simplest object into a shared experience. Young dolphins often start these games first, testing their coordination and curiosity. Older ones join in, not as teachers, but as companions. The bay becomes a playground of gentle motion, all within water so clear you can see the sand glimmer beneath their shadows. Researchers believe that such play is more than fun. It's practice for cooperation and timing. When dolphins hunt, they rely on teamwork, communication, and precise movements. Play with seagrass is a kind of rehearsal, but it's also something deeper, a release, a way to enjoy existence itself. If you listen closely, you might hear faint bursts of clicks and whistles, dolphin laughter in a sense. Each toss of seagrass carries not competition, but harmony. No one wins, no one loses. The game simply flows until someone lets the grass drift away and the group moves on. There's something soothing about it, this image of intelligent beings finding delight in a leaf of grass. It reminds us that joy doesn't need to be grand or complicated. Sometimes peace is found in motion, in the way a current catches something light, or how two friends share the same rhythm without speaking. When the sun lowers and the bay grows gold and quiet, the dolphins eventually leave their playground. The seagrass settles once more on the sandy floor, rocking gently in the tide. Tomorrow, perhaps, another group will find it again and begin the same timeless game. It's a small moment in the vast story of the ocean, but a beautiful one, a reminder that intelligence and happiness often live in the same place. Even in the great blue deep, life finds time to play. In shallow coves and warm coastal waters, there are stories that seem almost too tender to believe. A diver floats quietly, camera in hand, when a dolphin appears from the blue, not rushing, just gliding slowly closer. In its mouth, it carries something, a piece of coral, a smooth shell, a tuft of seaweed. The dolphin pauses in front of the diver, releases the object, and waits. A small gift drifting between worlds. Scientists call this object offering, but the term feels too clinical for what it truly is, an act of curiosity wrapped in trust. Dolphins in several regions, especially near Australia and New Zealand, have been seen presenting gifts to people who spend time near them. Fishermen, researchers, swimmers who visit the same bay year after year. The dolphins bring coral fragments, sponges, or even stones from the seabed, holding them gently in their jaws. No one knows exactly why they do it. It's not a request for food. Many of these dolphins refuse handouts. Some believe it's mimicry. They see humans offering fish or gestures and return the favor in their own way. Others think it's a form of social play, a way of saying, I trust you enough to share what's mine. What's remarkable is the care they take. They don't drop the item randomly. They swim close, make eye contact, and let it go right in front of the person, then hover, waiting, as if watching for a reaction. If the human reaches out, the dolphin often circles back, retrieves the object, and brings it again. It's a small ritual, like a conversation made of gifts instead of words. Among dolphins themselves, such behavior isn't unusual. Within pods, they sometimes exchange objects or pass seaweed back and forth during social bonding. It's a game, but it's also a way of strengthening relationships. Extending that gesture toward humans suggests something extraordinary, that they see us as part of their social world, even if only for a moment. Divers often describe the experience as humbling. There's something deeply gentle about being offered a shell by a creature of such intelligence. No noise, no demand, just silent generosity. The ocean around them stays calm, the water full of drifting light, and for a brief instant, two entirely different minds meet in quiet understanding. When the dolphin finally swims away, the object sometimes sinks slowly to the sand below. It's easy to imagine that it's not really the coral or shell that matters. It's the gesture, the simple act of giving. In a vast ocean that can seem indifferent and wild, moments like these remind us that empathy exists in unexpected places. A dolphin's gift may be small, but in its own language, it says something enormous. I see you. I trust you. We share this world. Touching a dolphin, people often say it feels like sliding your hand over wet silk, soft, cool, and impossibly smooth. That texture isn't just for beauty, it's the result of a secret rhythm happening all the time beneath their surface. A dolphin's skin is constantly renewing itself, layer by layer, every few hours. While most animals replace their outer skin in days or weeks, dolphins do it in roughly 2. That pace is astonishing. Imagine your body quietly rebuilding its surface before the day even ends. For dolphins, this rapid renewal serves a clear purpose: perfection in motion. The ocean is full of hitchhikers, algae, barnacles, and tiny parasites that try to cling to anything that moves. But dolphins rarely give them the chance. Their skin never grows old enough for unwanted guests to settle. This constant regeneration keeps the surface sleek and frictionless, allowing dolphins to glide through water almost silently. They don't slice or splash like other swimmers, they flow. That glassy smoothness minimizes drag, saving energy on every journey, every leap, every dive. Scientists have even studied dolphin skin to design faster boats and submarines, nature's blueprint for quiet speed. If you could look at dolphin skin under a microscope, you'd see how thin and delicate each layer is, elastic, flexible, always alive. Old cells slough away as new ones push upward, a seamless cycle of renewal. Even small scratches disappear quickly, leaving no scar. It's not just vanity, it's survival. A healthy outer layer means fewer infections and better control of body temperature in cold waters. You might think such rapid change would leave them feeling exposed, but dolphins seem at ease with it, as if they live in a state of permanent refreshment. The very thing that would exhaust another creature becomes their quiet strength. It's an elegant kind of resilience. No drama, no repair crews, just steady, unseen maintenance. And maybe that's the lesson hidden beneath their sleek skin. Balance through renewal. While humans often cling to what's old or worn, dolphins shed constantly, moving forward without effort or regret. Every few hours they become new again, not dramatically, but gently, as if reminding the sea that even perfection needs upkeep. When you watch one break the surface, glistening in sunlight, remember that what you're seeing is brand new skin, only a few hours old. Smooth as glass, shaped by motion, never the same twice. Beneath that shimmer lies an ancient rhythm of letting go, an art the ocean seems to have taught them long ago. Every breath a dolphin takes is a choice. Not instinctive, not automatic, deliberate. While we humans drift through our days, inhaling without thought, a dolphin must remember to breathe every single time. It's a strange, beautiful burden, to live surrounded by water, yet carry air as the thing that keeps you alive. At the top of its head lies the blowhole, a perfectly designed doorway between two worlds. Each time the dolphin surfaces, it exhales with a soft burst, psst, then draws in fresh air through that small opening. The entire exchange lasts less than a second, but it's done with precision. The blowhole opens, closes, and seals watertight again before the dolphin dips below. Nothing accidental, nothing careless. This conscious rhythm means a dolphin can never fully let go the way we do when we fall asleep. If it did, it would simply stop breathing. So nature gave it a clever compromise. Half of the brain rests while the other stays alert, gently reminding the body when it's time to rise for air. Even in dreams there's awareness, a quiet sentry in the mind, guarding every breath. From the surface, you'd barely notice the effort. A dolphin rises smoothly, exhales, inhales, and glides back under in one continuous motion. No gasp, no struggle, just calm precision. Each breath seems effortless because centuries of evolution have turned necessity into grace. This form of breathing also gives dolphins extraordinary control. When they dive, they can hold their breath for minutes, managing oxygen so efficiently that not a drop of energy is wasted. When they rest, they breathe slower, steadier, a tranquil rhythm that seems to match the heartbeat of the sea. It's both mechanical and meditative, like a practiced yoga breath performed without ego or rush. There's quiet poetry in that. To stay alive, a dolphin must always be present. No distractions, no absent-minded moments. Every inhalation is awareness. Every exhalation, release. It's mindfulness, not as a goal, but as a way of existence. For dolphin mothers, this awareness becomes a shared rhythm. Calves learn by imitation, surfacing alongside their mothers, breathing in sync, like dancers rehearsing a duet. Over time, it becomes second nature, but never unconscious. The act of breathing remains a choice, a constant reminder of life's balance between body and mind. Perhaps that's what makes dolphins feel so serene when you watch them. Their movements never hurried, their breathing steady, their awareness unbroken. They remind us that something as simple as air can be sacred when done with intention. So when you hear that soft sigh above the waves, think of what it represents. Not just breath, but presence. A creature that never forgets to live moment by moment, breath by breath, awake even in its dreams. A single dolphin can whisper into the sea, and another, miles away, will hear it clearly, as if the water itself were listening. That's how far their whistles travel. In the ocean, sound moves about 4 times faster than in air, gliding effortlessly through salt and current, weaving around coral, bouncing off the seafloor. What begins as a soft note becomes a silver thread stretching across the blue. Dolphins have learned to use this gift with extraordinary skill. Each whistle is more than noise. It's identity, emotion, and intent, all bound together. When one dolphin calls, another recognizes not just who it is, but how it feels. Excitement, affection, curiosity, all carried in those rippling tones. The ocean amplifies everything, not in volume, but in reach. A single voice can fill miles of quiet water. It's easy to forget how dark and vast their world can be. Vision fades quickly in deep water, but sound travels endlessly. For dolphins, the sea isn't a silent expanse. It's alive with music. Even when pods are far apart, their whistles create a kind of invisible web, linking families across distance. Somewhere beyond sight, a reply always comes. To human ears, those calls might sound like laughter or song, rising and falling with gentle rhythm. But to dolphins, it's language. Their whistles bend, twist, and stretch in ways our words never could. Each note bounces through the water, reflecting from rocks and waves, returning slightly changed, as if the ocean itself answers, wrapping every call in an echo. Scientists studying these sounds describe them like voices in a cathedral, soft, reverberant, endless. Dolphins seem to know this effect instinctively. They whistle more often in deep or open water, where echoes carry farthest. Some even change the pitch slightly, depending on distance, adjusting as naturally as a singer adapting to an acoustic hall. There's something profoundly calming about this form of connection. Voices floating through miles of quiet water, never lost, only softened by time and space. While humans rely on sight to feel close, dolphins use sound, trusting that what they send out will always find its way back. When you picture them, think of it this way. Beneath the waves, communication isn't shouted or hurried. It drifts, expands, and returns, like ripples meeting and merging. A conversation might stretch over miles, yet it carries the same intimacy as a whisper between friends. The ocean amplifies their voices, yes, but it also preserves their gentleness. Through those echoes, pods stay together. Mothers find their calves, and the vast emptiness of the sea becomes home. Each whistle fades slowly, blending with the hush of currents,
leaving behind a soundless feeling, the memory of contact in a world made of blue. Sometimes awareness goes beyond what eyes or ears can capture. For dolphins, the world isn't just something they see or hear, it's something they feel. Around their snout are tiny, almost invisible pores called electroreceptors, and through these they can sense the faint electric fields that all living beings produce. Every muscle movement, every heartbeat, every flick of a fin creates a small electric pulse. It's so weak that humans could never notice it, but dolphins can. Even when the water grows cloudy or dark, they know when something nearby is alive. The ocean doesn't hide much from a creature so finely tuned. This gift is subtle, like a sixth sense whispered through salt and current. A dolphin gliding near the seabed might detect a fish buried beneath sand, not by sight, but by the tiny electric rhythm of its beating heart. It's not hunting through noise or chase, but through awareness, stillness guiding motion. Scientists first discovered this ability while studying the small pits along a dolphin's rostrum, the long beak-shaped part of its face. They found nerve endings so sensitive that they could pick up signals measured in millionths of a volt. That's like detecting the energy from a watch battery through an ocean wave. For a dolphin, this means every pulse of life around them, from the flutter of a shrimp to the slow glide of a turtle, becomes part of their sensory world. Imagine living in a place where even silence hums softly with presence. That's how dolphins experience the sea. They don't rely on one sense alone. They listen, see, and feel all at once, blending information into a picture far richer than what we can imagine. Their world is full of quiet electricity, invisible signals threading through the water, linking every creature together in a shared field of awareness. This sense isn't just for hunting. It's thought to help them navigate through magnetic currents, stay oriented during long migrations, and even communicate subtle emotional states to one another. A slight movement, a pulse of energy, a change in rhythm, it's all part of the language of the sea. To the casual observer, a dolphin's stillness may look like rest, but beneath that calm surface is constant awareness, a gentle scanning of the unseen world, effortless and graceful. It's as if they never lose touch with life around them, even when everything looks still. In a way, their gift mirrors mindfulness itself, being fully present, attuned to the smallest signals, alive to every subtle vibration. The dolphin doesn't rush to interpret, it simply listens to what the water tells it. And in that quiet awareness lies a kind of wisdom, that life in all its forms can be felt long before it's seen. Few sights in nature feel as instantly comforting as a dolphin's smile. That smooth, curved mouth, the gentle eyes, the peaceful expression. It's a face that seems to radiate calm. For years, people assumed it was just coincidence, an illusion created by anatomy. But there's more truth in that smile than we once thought. The curve of a dolphin's mouth is shaped by muscles that, when relaxed, naturally pull upward at the corners. In a calm state, those muscles stay soft, holding that quiet, contented shape. It's not forced or exaggerated, it's simply the way peace looks on them. When tension rises from loud noises, captivity stress, or threats, their facial muscles stiffen and that familiar curve straightens ever so slightly. The difference is subtle,
but real. So when a dolphin appears to smile, it's not faking emotion the way a carved statue does. It's showing what its body feels. Their calm expression is part of their natural physiology, a reflection of their steady breathing and easy movements. Their face mirrors their inner rhythm, one that's guided by balance and awareness rather than reaction. Observers in the wild often notice how dolphins move when at ease. Slow arcs through the water, gentle exhalations through the blowhole, small clicks exchanged between companions. Everything about their behavior flows with softness. That serene face completes the image. Not a grin, but a quiet embodiment of composure. Even their eyes contribute to the effect. Dolphins have a habit of glancing with one eye while the other remains partly closed, giving an impression of warmth and curiosity. In truth, they're observing their surroundings carefully, but without alarm. Every feature of their expression serves a purpose, and together it gives them that unmistakable aura of calm intelligence. There's something reassuring about this. We live in a world where smiles often hide stress, but dolphins wear peace honestly. Their version of happiness isn't loud or exaggerated. It's quiet, controlled, and effortless. That soft curve of their mouth isn't performance. It's the natural outcome of existing without tension. Of course, scientists caution against assigning human emotions too freely. Yet even within biology, relaxation has meaning. A steady heart rate, smooth respiration, fluid motion, these all correspond with what we call tranquility. And dolphins embody that physically. Their expression is a kind of still water, calm on the surface, calm within. Next time you see footage of a dolphin gliding through clear waves, look closely. That upward curve isn't only anatomy. It's a reflection of an animal that has learned how to move through life without hurry, without friction, without struggle. In that soft smile lies the ocean's lesson. Sometimes peace doesn't need words. It can simply rest quietly on a face. Night in the ocean feels endless, wide, dark, and still. Yet even in that vast quiet, dolphins find a way to rest safely. They don't sleep like we do, sinking into deep dreams. Instead, they float together in small groups, moving slowly through the calm water. And while some drift in half-sleep, others remain awake, keeping watch. They take turns, silent sentinels guarding their dreaming companions. This system is one of nature's gentlest examples of cooperation. Dolphins live in pods that can include close family and trusted friends. Within those bonds, safety is shared. When the group slows down to rest, a few members stay alert, their open eyes scanning the dim blue. They listen for the low hum of distant movement or the echo of a passing shark. Hours later, the roles reverse. The watchers rest, while others keep vigil. It's a rotation built on trust, wordless but absolute. The science behind this is as fascinating as the emotion it carries. Because dolphins can sleep with only half of their brain at a time, the awake hemisphere helps them continue breathing and swimming gently. In group rest, the alert dolphins coordinate their wakeful halves to maintain the pod's rhythm. They drift together in near silence, each breath rising and falling in a shared pattern, the surface breaking only with soft sighs. From above, the scene looks peaceful, a cluster of faint shadows gliding in formation under the moonlight. But beneath that stillness is awareness. Every flick of a fin, every shift in current is felt. A single awake dolphin can sense the approach of danger long before it nears, alerting the group with subtle movement or sound. Then, just as quietly, they all resume their calm pace once safety returns. This balance of rest and protection speaks to something profound about dolphin life. They are social creatures, not out of necessity alone, but out of comfort. Their survival depends as much on connection as on instinct. In a world where being still can be dangerous, they've created a rhythm that allows peace without losing awareness, a perfect compromise between trust and caution. There's something deeply touching about this arrangement, one mind staying awake so that another can rest. It mirrors a kind of empathy, a shared understanding that every member deserves safety and sleep. In that dark expanse, surrounded by miles of silent water, they rely not on fear, but on one another. And so, through the long hours of the night, the pod moves as one, half awake, half dreaming, always together. The ocean carries them gently, and in the steady exchange of watchfulness, they find serenity. To be a dolphin in such a moment is to know that even when your eyes close, you are never alone. A dolphin exhales beneath the surface, not in a rush of bubbles, but in a single, precise breath. The air forms a ring, silver and smooth, expanding slowly as it drifts upward. Then, with a flick of its fin, the dolphin spins the ring, keeping it intact. The circle shimmers like glass, hovering in the blue. A second dolphin joins in, nudging the ring gently before blowing another beside it. Soon the water fills with floating halos of air, a quiet game played in silence. Scientists call them bubble rings, but to the dolphins they're clearly more than that. These are their toys, created, shaped, and enjoyed purely for fun. Dolphins form them by releasing air in quick, controlled bursts from their blowhole or mouth, adjusting the speed and angle to perfect the shape. It's not luck, it's skill. A small twitch of the jaw or a subtle twist of the body keeps the bubble stable, spinning beautifully without bursting. There's no reason for this behavior other than delight. Dolphins don't use bubble rings to hunt or communicate. They make them because they can. Sometimes they chase the rings, passing them between one another like invisible hoops. Other times, they blow tiny jets of air through the center to make them grow or split into two. The ocean becomes their playground, the water itself their canvas. What's touching is how young dolphins learn this craft. Calves often watch older pod members experimenting with bubbles, studying every motion until they can create their own. The first attempts are clumsy, lopsided rings that wobble and vanish too soon, but practice brings precision. Eventually, the young ones learn to make perfect circles that drift upward like soft moons. It's a lesson not in survival, but in creativity. Underwater cameras have captured moments when a dolphin stares through its own bubble ring, watching light bend and ripple inside it. Some even swim through their creations, breaking them apart in small explosions of silver bubbles. You can sense a kind of curiosity there, a joy in cause and effect, in beauty for its own sake. Playing like this is a hallmark of intelligence. Its behavior shared only by creatures that can afford to slow down, animals that experience not just instinct, but wonder. The dolphin's bubbles aren't tools or signals. They're moments of peace, shaped by breath. If you imagine it from their world, it's almost meditative. Blowing air, watching it rise, reshaping it, letting it go. No purpose, no urgency, just rhythm and motion. Somewhere beneath a sunlit bay, a dolphin spins another perfect ring. It floats upward, shimmering softly until it bursts at the surface. Then, without hesitation, another begins. Its life repeating its own joy, calm, playful, and endlessly creative. Every so often, the ocean writes a quiet story of kindness. A calf loses its mother, perhaps to illness, predators, or age, and for a moment the sea feels vast and indifferent. But then something remarkable happens. From within the pod, another dolphin swims close, circling gently around the orphan. She doesn't attack, doesn't turn away. Instead, she stays, guiding the calf upward for air, nudging it toward safety. Over time, she becomes its new guardian. Among dolphins, this kind of adoption is not rare. Female dolphins, especially older or childless ones, have been seen taking in orphaned calves and raising them as their own. They nurse them if capable, teach them to hunt, and keep them within the protection of the pod. The calf learns to follow her just as it once followed its mother, trusting her touch and her calls. It's one of the most touching forms of altruism in the animal kingdom, compassion without obligation. For scientists observing this, it's both moving and mysterious. There's no genetic advantage to caring for another's young, yet dolphins do it anyway. It seems driven by something more emotional than instinct, a sense of empathy, of connection. Pods thrive on cooperation, and to them the loss of one calf is the loss of a future member. By saving that calf, the group preserves not just life, but community. Sometimes it's not just one dolphin who helps. Male companions have been seen escorting orphaned calves, swimming on either side like quiet bodyguards. Others in the pod adjust their routes to include the new pair, as if silently agreeing that protection is now everyone's job. The calf's small, uncertain movements soon grew steadier, echoing the graceful rhythm of its adoptive family. These stories unfold without ceremony. No noise, no dominance, just gentle acceptance. The new mother shares her food, her time, and her vigilance. She calls out in soft clicks, teaching the calf to respond. Over months, their communication deepens until the bond becomes indistinguishable from that of a birth mother and her young. To watch it happen is to see emotion translated into motion. The ocean, so often seen as a cold place, becomes a space of warmth and care.
Even years later, some of these adopted calves stay close to their foster mothers, traveling together as adults. It's a lasting proof that love in nature doesn't always follow bloodlines. It follows compassion. There's something quietly human in that truth. In a world that can be harsh and unpredictable, dolphins choose care. They prove that empathy isn't just a human invention. It's a current that runs through the living world, connecting hearts beneath the waves. Sometimes comfort doesn't need words. It only needs touch. Among dolphins, the language of closeness is written in movement. The slow brush of one fin against another, a gentle glide of two bodies side by side. It's quiet, simple, and deeply sincere. When members of a pod swim together, they often drift close enough for their pectoral fins to graze. It might look like a coincidence, but it's deliberate. These touches are their version of a reassuring hand on the shoulder, a gesture that says, "I'm here with you." Scientists have seen dolphins use this kind of contact after moments of stress, separation, or surprise. Two individuals will approach each other, rub gently, and then resume calm, synchronized swimming. Conflict fades, replaced by harmony. Their fins, sensitive with nerve endings, act like both tools and messengers. Through these touches, dolphins maintain bonds of friendship and family. In large pods, physical contact helps keep order without aggression. There's no need for dominance displays when reassurance can do the same job more peacefully. Every small rub is a reminder of belonging, of being part of something larger and safe. It's not just comfort, it's coordination. When dolphins travel in tight formation, brushing fins helps them keep perfect rhythm. Their breathing patterns even begin to align, the group moving like a single flowing body. Each touch strengthens that invisible trust. One dolphin's motion becomes another's cue, and the entire pod glides as one. Mothers and calves share the most tender touches. The mother's fin often trails lightly along her calf's side, guiding it without pressure, almost like tracing a boundary of protection. The calf responds in kind, brushing back, keeping close, learning comfort through contact. It's the ocean's version of a lullaby. No sound, just gentle reassurance carried through touch. Observers have also noticed that dolphins seem to enjoy physical closeness simply for pleasure. They nuzzle, roll together, or brush repeatedly without any practical reason. It's affectionate, plain, and quiet. They don't need language to express calm. They build it with motion and trust. In human terms, this behavior feels familiar, like holding hands, leaning in, or resting beside someone you care about. Touch has always been our oldest form of comfort, and dolphins remind us it's the same beneath the waves. Watch a pod from above, and you might see those faint silvery forms weaving through each other, every movement soft and intentional. It's not random, it's communication in its most peaceful form. Where we might speak, they simply touch. There's grace in that simplicity. The ocean doesn't echo with noise, yet it's full of connection. Dolphins, with their gentle brushes and quiet gestures, live in a constant reminder that calmness can be shared. Sometimes all it takes is one soft touch. Deep beneath the rolling surface, a pod of dolphins begins to descend. Their bodies move in unison, sleek, silent, almost choreographed. But something even more beautiful happens inside them, invisible to the eye. Their hearts begin to beat together. As they glide downward, each dolphin takes a final breath at the surface, then exhales softly through their blowhole. Within moments, their heart rates slow. It's a natural reflex known as bradycardia, designed to conserve oxygen during dives. Yet, when dolphins dive together, those heartbeats don't just slow, they align. Scientists tracking them with underwater sensors noticed it. Pulse patterns from different individuals rising and falling in perfect time, as if one rhythm flowed through many bodies. It's not conscious coordination, it's something deeper. Their breathing before the dive sets the tempo. A few calm exhalations, then a shared pause, then descent. Each body responds to the same physical cues: the pressure of water, the slowing need for air, the muted world beneath. And so heartbeat follows heartbeat, syncing naturally until the group becomes a living metronome beneath the sea. This synchronization helps them function as a unit. When their hearts beat together, their movements and decisions follow in harmony. They conserve oxygen at the same rate, rise to the surface at the same moment, and maintain a rhythm that keeps them safe. The ocean can scatter sound and sight, but rhythm binds them closer than either could. Imagine the serenity of that. A dozen dolphins drifting through blue twilight, their bodies pulsing softly in unison. No leader, no follower, just perfect balance. In that moment, individuality dissolves into something collective and peaceful. The group breathes as one, moves as one, lives as one. There's something symbolic in that harmony, too. For dolphins, unity isn't just social, it's physical. Their connection isn't spoken, it's felt in every pulse and every shared breath. That calm coherence keeps them alive and content in a world of constant motion. When they finally ascend again, the pattern gently breaks. Heart rates rise, lungs fill, and individuality returns. Yet the bond remains, renewed, unspoken, unbreakable. They circle each other near the surface, exchanging clicks and whistles that sound like laughter, perhaps acknowledging the dive just shared. Humans find peace through music, rhythm, meditation, ways to bring the body and mind into sync. Dolphins seem to live in that state naturally, their calm hearts tuned to the ocean's steady beat. So, the next time you think of a dolphin pod diving beneath the silver horizon, imagine not just their motion, but the quiet, soundless rhythm within them, hearts echoing together, deep under the water, like the ocean itself, is keeping time. A long swell rolls across the surface, smooth as silk, rising in rhythm toward the shore. And then a flicker of silver. A dolphin arcs into the wave, catching its curve with perfect timing. The water lifts, curls, and for a brief, beautiful moment, the dolphin becomes part of it, gliding effortlessly down the face of the wave, twisting, leaping, and diving again.
There's no prey to chase, no danger to avoid. It's simply joy in motion. Dolphins have been seen surfing everywhere, along beaches, beside passing boats, even in remote stretches of open sea. They choose waves the way an artist might choose color, for the feeling. Sometimes a single dolphin rides alone, carving graceful lines across the water. Other times an entire pod joins in, taking turns like friends sharing laughter. They leap together, vanish, then burst through the surface again, shimmering in the light. Scientists have studied this behavior for decades, trying to understand why they do it. There's no survival advantage, no food reward or territorial gain. The simplest explanation seems to be the truest one. They enjoy it. Surfing gives them a sense of flow, of freedom, of pure play. It's an experience, one that begins and ends with delight. Young dolphins are the most enthusiastic surfers. They experiment constantly, approaching waves from different angles, diving beneath and shooting out through the crest, learning how to use energy instead of fighting it. Older dolphins often join them, not to dominate, but to accompany, gliding nearby like gentle mentors. The ocean becomes a playground, and the waves become laughter made visible. But even play has a deeper rhythm. By surfing, dolphins refine their timing, balance, and coordination, all vital skills for hunting and survival. Yet those practical benefits seem secondary. You can tell by the way they twist mid-air, by the way they turn upside down just to feel the water pass over their bellies. It's not training, it's art. There's a quiet lesson hidden in that motion. Dolphins don't need a reason to enjoy the sea. They trust the moment itself. They don't conquer the wave. They join it, letting nature carry them forward. The joy comes not from control, but from surrender. At dusk, when the light turns gold and the waves slow, the pod sometimes continues to play long after the world grows quiet. Their bodies flash silver under the fading sun, each leap a reminder that happiness can be simple, movement, rhythm, and shared presence. If peace had a sound, it might be the hush of that wave as a dolphin glides across it, alive, aware, and utterly free. Long before a dolphin calf learns to whistle or click, it learns something simpler, how to breathe like its mother. In the soft rhythm of the sea, the two move as one. The mother surfaces, exhales with a quiet sigh, inhales swiftly, and dips below again. The calf follows, mirroring her perfectly, breath for breath, rise for rise. In that rhythm lies the first lesson of life, calmness. Scientists studying mother-calf pairs have noticed how tightly synchronized their breathing becomes within days of birth. Even when the calf drifts slightly behind, it times its breath to match her exhalation. A duet without sound, a conversation made of air and trust. The calf doesn't yet understand language, but it understands rhythm, and through rhythm it learns safety. That shared breathing isn't a coincidence. It's the calf's way of learning presence. A newborn dolphin must surface often, sometimes every 20 seconds, and its mother keeps pace, adjusting her dives to stay aligned. Her steadiness becomes the calf's anchor. The mother's calm breathing teaches the young one that the ocean's pulse can be trusted,
that peace exists even in motion. You can imagine the scene from above, two faint silhouettes gliding just under the surface, one large, one small, rising and falling in perfect time. The water around them glows with morning light. Every few moments, the surface breaks with a soft exhale, then closes again. No rush, no panic, just the sound of shared breath in an endless blue cradle. Over weeks, that rhythm shapes the calf's development. Dolphins breathe consciously, so synchronizing with the mother trains the young brain to balance awareness and rest. It's their first form of mindfulness, learning when to move, when to pause, when to breathe. Later, the calf will imitate her whistles and clicks, but breathing comes first. Before words, before songs, there is rhythm. Even emotionally, the pattern runs deep. Breathing together strengthens their bond, the way heartbeat synchronization does in human infants. When the mother slows her breath, the calf slows too. When she quickens, the calf responds in kind. It's communication through stillness, teaching calm not by command, but by example. This bond lasts for years. As the calf grows and learns to venture farther, it still carries that rhythm within, the quiet breathing pattern first shared with its mother. Long after they part, that early peace remains, like a memory imprinted in motion. Perhaps that's why dolphins always seem so composed, so present. They begin life not by rushing to speak, but by learning to breathe in harmony with another being. Before they ever make a sound, they inherit serenity, one breath at a time.
Some creatures face pressure by resisting it. Dolphins meet it by slowing down. Deep beneath the waves, when the weight of the sea presses from all sides, their hearts begin to move differently, slower, quieter, deliberate. It's not panic that guides them, but peace. Unlike most animals, dolphins can consciously change the rhythm of their own heartbeat. When they dive, they decide how calm to be. In those first moments after inhaling, their heart rate begins to drop, a reflex at first, then a choice. Scientists studying them with special monitors noticed that they could control this slowing, tailoring it to how deep they planned to go. The deeper the dive, the slower the pulse. This control is more than biology, it's mastery. By lowering their heart rate, dolphins conserve oxygen, sending just enough blood to the brain and heart while letting other organs rest. It's like dimming the lights in a quiet room to make energy last longer. Each beat becomes measured, meaningful, and steady. No waste, no rush. In humans, stress speeds the heart. In dolphins, challenge slows it. That reversal is what makes them so serene. Even when diving hundreds of meters, where darkness and pressure would crush most creatures, their internal rhythm stays calm. The body obeys not fear, but focus. There's elegance in how smoothly they do it. Nothing about the movement suggests strain. A dolphin can descend for minutes at a time, moving with the ease of something weightless, its pulse beating half.
Some creatures face pressure by resisting it. Dolphins meet it by slowing down. Deep beneath the waves, when the weight of the sea presses from all sides, Their hearts begin to move differently, slower, quieter, deliberate. It's not panic that guides them, but peace. Unlike most animals, dolphins can consciously change the rhythm of their own heartbeat. When they dive, they decide how calm to be. In those first moments after inhaling, their heart rate begins to drop, a reflex at first, then a choice. Scientists studying them with special monitors noticed that they could control this slowing, tailoring it to how deep they planned to go. The deeper the dive, the slower the pulse. This control is more than biology, it's mastery. By lowering their heart rate, dolphins conserve oxygen, sending just enough blood to the brain and heart while letting other organs rest. It's like dimming the lights in a quiet room to make energy last longer. Each beat becomes measured, meaningful, and steady. No waste, no rush. In humans, stress speeds the heart. In dolphins, challenge slows it. That reversal is what makes them so serene. Even when diving hundreds of meters, where darkness and pressure would crush most creatures, their internal rhythm stays calm. The body obeys not fear, but focus. There is elegance in how smoothly they do it. Nothing about the movement suggests strain. A dolphin can descend for minutes at a time, moving with the ease of something weightless, its pulse beating half as fast as at the surface. When it finally rises again, light flooding the water, the rhythm gently quickens, never abrupt, always controlled. This ability isn't just physical, it's symbolic of the dolphin's entire way of life. They meet every challenge with measured grace, not through force, but through calm. Their power lies in restraint, in knowing that slowing down doesn't mean weakness, it means endurance. Imagine the quiet inside that body, a single heart, slowing with purpose, surrounded by infinite water. Each pulse echoes softly through muscle and bone, syncing with the hush of the sea. For a dolphin, peace isn't an escape, it's a tool, one that keeps them alive in the most demanding conditions. Humans often seek calm through meditation or breath control. Dolphins were born knowing it. Their stillness under pressure, their ability to regulate both body and mind, is a reminder that true strength can sound like silence. When they surface again, exhaling softly into the air, it's not just oxygen they've managed, it's equilibrium. A dolphin's slow heart isn't a sign of sleep, it's awareness distilled to its quietest form, control, focus, and serenity in the deepest parts of the world. A dolphin never fully looks in one direction. While one eye may gaze into the shimmering blue below, the other turns gently toward the light above, watching the surface, the sky, or a distant movement across the waves. It's as if the animal is living in two realities at once, the quiet deep and the bright world of air and horizon. This is no illusion. A dolphin's eyes can move independently, each controlled by separate muscles and nerves. One can focus downward, scanning the seabed for fish or shapes, while the other stays fixed upward, guarding against predators or tracking companions at the surface. It's a graceful form of multitasking that few creatures can match. In practical terms, this ability keeps them safe. The ocean is full of contrasts, light above, darkness below, and dolphins must navigate both.
Independent vision allows them to detect threats from any direction without turning their heads or breaking formation. When they rise to breathe, one eye can already watch the surface before the rest of the body follows. Every movement is prepared, every glance measured. But there's something more delicate hidden within this adaptation. It's what allows dolphins to rest without losing awareness. During unihemispheric sleep, when half their brain rests and the other stays awake, the open eye watches over the world while its partner closes to dream. The eyes take turns just as the brain does. One side sleeps, the other observes, maintaining gentle vigilance even in peace. Seen up close, their gaze carries a calm intelligence, not darting or nervous, but steady, present. They don't seem to divide attention out of anxiety, but out of balance. One eye belongs to safety, the other to serenity. Together, they form a complete awareness, never frantic, never distracted. This dual vision paints a portrait of how dolphins live, alert but never tense, connected to both action and stillness. They can exist in the moment while keeping watch for what's beyond it. To them, perception isn't about focus, it's about harmony. Imagine floating there beside one, seeing what it sees. A world split by the surface, light bending above, color deepening below, sound surrounding everything. For a dolphin, that's not division, it's unity. One body, two eyes, two worlds, all part of one calm awareness. Perhaps that's why they always seem so composed. Their very design is a reminder of balance, that it's possible to live between worlds, attentive yet peaceful. The dolphin doesn't have to choose between safety and rest. It simply watches both, one eye open to the sea, one eye open to the sky.
Across the years and shifting tides, some dolphins never forget each other. A bond formed in youth, through play, through shared journeys, through the quiet rhythms of the sea, can last for decades. They may travel apart for years, even join different pods, yet when they meet again, recognition is instant. One whistle, one glance, and the friendship returns as if no time has passed at all. In dolphin society, companionship is not a luxury, it's a lifeline. They live in social groups built on trust and cooperation. Within those pods, certain individuals grow inseparable. They swim side by side, hunt together, share food, and defend one another from threats. Scientists have followed such pairs for over 20 years. Friends who remain close across the seasons, their lives intertwined like twin currents. What's fascinating is how selective these relationships can be. Dolphins don't bond with everyone equally. They choose based on personality, behavior, and compatibility. It's not unlike human friendship. Some connect through playfulness, others through calmness or shared habits. Over time, their interactions grow softer, more familiar, full of small gestures that only they seem to understand. When separated, dolphins can recognize a friend's signature whistle even decades later. Experiments have shown that one dolphin will respond instantly to the call of another it hasn't seen for over 20 years, the longest memory for social recognition ever recorded in a non-human species. That's not just intelligence, that's devotion. These bonds extend beyond necessity. Friends groom each other, synchronize their breathing, and even share babysitting duties for calves. After a hunt, they sometimes rest side by side, touching fins or drifting close in silence, a scene that feels almost human in its comfort. There's no display, no drama, just quiet understanding between beings who have traveled the same waters for most of their lives. You can see it in their reunions. When two old companions find each other again, their body language changes. They circle closely, whistle repeatedly, and make small, joyful leaps, an unmistakable display of recognition. Then they fall back into their old rhythm, moving together as though they had never parted. Friendship for dolphins isn't a fleeting moment. It's a lifelong rhythm of trust. It weaves through their memories, shaping who they are and how they move through the world. They remind us that intelligence alone doesn't make life rich. Connection does. Somewhere in the ocean, two dolphins that once grew up together may still be swimming side by side, their paths occasionally diverging, but never truly separating. Their loyalty isn't written in words, in movement. A lifetime of shared water, shared breath, and the simple, unspoken joy of finding a friend again.
There are moments in the ocean that feel almost sacred. A dolphin, wounded or weak, drifts near the surface, moving slowly with the tide. It could easily sink or struggle, but it doesn't. Beside it, another dolphin swims close, pressing gently against its side, lifting it upward just enough for air. A soft breath breaks the surface, then another. When one helper grows tired, another takes its place. The rhythm continues, calm, constant, and full of quiet devotion. This behavior has been witnessed in pods all over the world. When one dolphin is injured, sick, or disoriented, the others don't abandon it. They circle, guide, and support it, keeping its blowhole above the water so it can breathe. Sometimes 2 or 3 dolphins work together, creating a cradle of motion that keeps the ailing one afloat. They may stay with it for hours, sometimes for days, even when predators or long migrations make it difficult. No one commands them to do this. It isn't instinct in the simplest sense. It's compassion. Each dolphin seems to know that another's survival matters. There are moments in the ocean that feel almost sacred. A dolphin, wounded or weak, drifts near the surface, moving slowly with the tide. It could easily sink or struggle, but it doesn't. Beside it, another dolphin swims close, pressing gently against its side, lifting it upward just enough for air. A soft breath breaks the surface, then another. When one helper grows tired, another takes its place. The rhythm continues, calm, constant, and full of quiet devotion. This behavior has been witnessed in pods all over the world. When one dolphin is injured, sick, or disoriented, the others don't abandon it. They circle, guide, and support it, keeping its blowhole above the water so it can breathe. Sometimes 2 or 3 dolphins work together, creating a cradle of motion that keeps the ailing one afloat. They may stay with it for hours, sometimes for days, even when predators or long migrations make it difficult. No one commands them to do this. It isn't instinct in the simplest sense.
It's compassion. Each dolphin seems to know that another's survival matters. Scientists call it epimelectic behavior, but that term barely captures the tenderness of what it truly is: empathy made visible. Their coordination is extraordinary. One dolphin slides beneath the weakened body to lend support, while another positions itself near the head, nudging whenever the blowhole drifts too low. If the sick dolphin can't swim, the helpers push it gently forward so it doesn't fall behind the pod. Even their timing of breaths seems to align, the group rising and falling together in a slow, unified rhythm. This caregiving behavior isn't limited to their own species. There have been rare but documented cases of dolphins supporting other marine animals, whales, seals, even humans in distress, lifting them toward air. It's as though the instinct to help transcends survival and spills into empathy. For the dolphins themselves, this care isn't just moral, it's practical. A pod thrives through unity. By protecting the weak, they preserve social strength, trust, and cooperation. Still, there's something deeper at play, a recognition of vulnerability that feels profoundly emotional. Observers often describe the scene as heartbreakingly gentle. The dolphins don't rush or panic. They move in slow, deliberate motions, adjusting their speed to match the one they're helping. Their patience seems infinite, as if the act of care itself has meaning, whether the injured dolphin recovers or not. When the ocean grows still again, and the pod finally moves on, there's no drama, no farewell. Just the silent understanding that they did what they could, that even in the wildest waters, kindness survives. It's easy to think of intelligence in terms of problem-solving or tool use, but dolphins remind us that wisdom can also take the shape of mercy, the decision to stay beside another life and keep it breathing. A mirror is a strange kind of magic. Most creatures who look into one see only another animal, a rival, a stranger, a ghost. But dolphins see themselves. When they pass by a reflective surface, a polished panel, a clear window in an aquarium, or even the shimmer of still water, they pause. They turn, twist, and watch. The reflection moves as they move, and in that moment, something extraordinary happens: recognition. Dolphins are among the few species on Earth proven to understand their own reflection. Alongside humans, great apes, elephants, and magpies, they've passed what scientists call the mirror test. When a mark is placed on their body where they can't normally see it, like near the fin or throat, they don't search for another dolphin to inspect it. They position themselves in front of the mirror, adjusting until the mark comes into view, examining it with curiosity. They know the reflection. A mirror is a strange kind of magic. Most creatures who look into one see only another animal, a rival, a stranger, a ghost. But dolphins see themselves. When they pass by a reflective surface, a polished panel, a clear window in an aquarium, or even the shimmer of still water, they pause. They turn, twist, and watch. The reflection moves as they move,
And in that moment, something extraordinary happens. Recognition. Dolphins are among the few species on Earth proven to understand their own reflection. Alongside humans, great apes, elephants, and magpies, they've passed what scientists call the mirror test. When a mark is placed on their body where they can't normally see it, like near the fin or throat, they don't search for another dolphin to inspect it. They position themselves in front of the mirror, adjusting until the mark comes into view, examining it with curiosity. They know the reflection is them. What's remarkable isn't just the intelligence this implies, it's the calmness behind it. Watching footage of dolphins at mirrors feels like observing a child seeing their face for the first time. There's no panic, no aggression, no fear, just wonder. They turn slowly, look closely, then make deliberate gestures, opening their mouths, moving their fins, studying how every movement mirrors perfectly back. It's self-awareness made visible. That ability to understand self hints at something deeper: emotion, memory, and empathy. To recognize your own reflection means knowing you are separate from others, and that others too are separate, living beings with thoughts of their own. It's the foundation of compassion. Dolphins live by this understanding naturally, showing care, cooperation, and mourning, behaviors that mirror emotional intelligence in the purest form. For dolphins, reflection might not even be surprising. The ocean constantly mirrors them, light bouncing off waves, the silver surface shifting with their movements. Perhaps they've always known that what's reflected in the water belongs to them, that their image and essence travel together. When you watch a dolphin gaze into its reflection, it's easy to sense something familiar, not in how they look, but in how they see. There's curiosity, playfulness, and a quiet awareness that feels almost human. At that moment, the distance between our species seems smaller. Self-awareness can be a burden for humans, often tied to overthinking and doubt. But for dolphins, it seems peaceful, a gentle knowing, not a noisy one. They don't stare into the mirror to question who they are. They simply recognize themselves and move on, content with the answer. So somewhere beneath the surface, a dolphin turns slowly before a pane of light, catches its own eye, and smiles, not out of vanity, but because awareness for them is effortless. They exist in harmony with their reflection, as if to say, I know myself, and that is enough. When the ocean settles into stillness, and the light of the morning rests softly on the surface, a group of dolphins begins to move. There's no rush, no splashing, just a slow, even glide. One leads, another follows, then several more join until they're perfectly aligned. Their fins slice the water in unison, each rise and dip matching the others exactly. For a moment, they seem less like individuals and more like a single body, breathing and flowing with one calm heartbeat. This phenomenon isn't trained or forced. Dolphins don't need choreography. They simply feel it. When conditions are quiet and the water smooth, something unspoken passes between them. A signal, invisible yet certain, aligns their pace.
They adjust their breathing, their turns, even the angle of their bodies, until everything fits in rhythm. It's not for hunting or protection. It's for the sheer harmony of moving together. Scientists call this synchronous swimming, and they've observed it across pods worldwide. This behavior strengthens bonds and builds trust. Moving in unison helps dolphins sense each other's intentions, a kind of silent conversation made of motion. When they turn at the same time, they're not reacting, they're anticipating. It's awareness at its most peaceful form. From above, the scene is mesmerizing. The ocean mirrors the sky, and within that reflection glide sleek, silver shapes. Each dolphin surfaces briefly, exhales a puff of air, and disappears beneath again in perfect sequence. The sound of their breathing is soft and steady, a rhythm so precise it feels like music played underwater. Some researchers believe this synchrony mirrors emotional connection. Dolphins known to share strong friendships often swim more closely and move more precisely together than casual podmates. It's as though their comfort with one another extends into every gesture, every turn. Together, they form a moving expression of trust. Watching them feels like watching calm made visible. Nothing hurried, nothing wasted. Even their speed seems measured, designed not for distance, but for grace. They glide through shafts of sunlight, their reflections shimmering below them. Two versions of every dolphin, one in water, one in light, dancing in silent symmetry. At times, they leap together in arcs so coordinated it seems rehearsed. But it isn't. It's instinctive, an unplanned ballet between friends who understand rhythm without words. When the leap ends, they slip back beneath the water in perfect timing, sending only faint ripples across the mirrored sea. This synchrony serves a purpose, yes, communication, bonding, cohesion, but it's also beautiful for its own sake. A natural performance, unseen by most, unfolding in quiet corners of the ocean whenever the sea grows calm enough to hold it. If peace could move, it would look like this: a pod of dolphins gliding through still water, every fin, every breath, every heartbeat joined in one effortless flow.
Some memories travel through words, others through sound. For dolphins, memory is a symphony, stored not in faces, but in voices. A diver can spend months working with a pod, teaching, feeding, or simply swimming alongside them. And years later, when they return, something magical happens. The dolphins remember. One whistle from the diver, one familiar tone, and the ocean stirs with recognition. Dolphins hear the world differently from us. Water carries sound 4 times. Some memories travel through words, others through sound. For dolphins, memory is a symphony, stored not in faces, but in voices. A diver can spend months working with a pod, teaching, feeding, or simply swimming alongside them, and years later, when they return, something magical happens. The dolphins remember. One whistle from the diver, one familiar tone, and the ocean stirs with recognition. Dolphins hear the world differently from us. Water carries sound 4 times faster than air, and their hearing is fine-tuned to subtle vibrations and frequencies.
They can pick up the faintest echo of a familiar voice, the cadence, the rhythm, the unique timbre that makes it human. It's not just hearing, it's recognition. They know who that sound belongs to. Researchers studying this phenomenon found that dolphins respond distinctively to the voices of people they've known before. When a familiar trainer or researcher speaks, the dolphins draw closer, whistle in return, and sometimes circle in a kind of greeting dance. With strangers, they stay curious but distant, polite but cautious. The difference is unmistakable. Even more extraordinary is their memory. In one documented case, a dolphin recognized the recorded whistle of an old companion after 20 years of separation. The same applies to human voices. Dolphins remember kindness, tone, and presence long after the sound has faded. It's not just data stored in the brain, it's emotional imprinting. To them, voices are more than noise, they're stories. They remember how someone spoke, not just what was said. Calm tones, soft laughter, the rhythm of reassurance, all these details matter. A human who once played with them or helped them is remembered not by sight, but by the unique melody of their voice carried through water. That sensitivity also shapes how they communicate among themselves. Each dolphin has its own signature whistle, like a name, but within pods, tone and variation express mood, joy, alertness, affection. When they interact with humans, they apply the same awareness, reading us through sound. The way we speak becomes a language they understand. There's a quiet beauty in that, a creature who listens so deeply it can recognize you not by how you look, but by the way your voice feels. It's as if sound itself becomes a bond connecting hearts across time and species. Divers often describe the experience of being recognized by dolphins as humbling. There's a flick of the fin, a rise to the surface, and that unmistakable welcoming whistle, a greeting from an old friend who never forgot. In a world that's constantly changing, dolphins carry memories the way we carry stories, gently, carefully, faithfully. Their ability to remember our voices reminds us that kindness leaves echoes far deeper than we think, sometimes carried forever beneath the waves. In the vastness of the ocean, lines between species blur. A group of dolphins glides beside a pod of pilot whales, their bodies moving in rhythm, breaths rising in tandem. There's no hierarchy here, no borders, only a shared current, a shared direction. For hours, sometimes days, they travel together like a single family, stitched together by motion and trust. These gatherings are known as mixed species pods, and they're among the most beautiful social displays in the natural world. Bottlenose dolphins, spinner dolphins, pilot whales, and porpoises have all been observed mingling this way. They swim, hunt, and even play alongside one another, communicating through clicks and body language that seem to transcend language itself. Scientists aren't entirely sure what brings them together, but several ideas ring true. Some pods join forces for protection. There's safety in numbers, and different species bring different strengths. Pilot whales, for instance, can dive deeper. Dolphins are faster and more agile near the surface. Together, they cover every layer of the sea.
Others form for social reasons, born of curiosity and friendliness. Dolphins are naturally drawn to novelty, new companions, new games, new ways of understanding their world. What's remarkable is the peace within these interactions. There's no competition, no conflict for food or territory. When they move as one, the ocean seems to hum with balance. They match each other's speed, adjust their formations, and sometimes even trade behaviors. Dolphins have been seen mimicking whale calls, and smaller species follow larger ones through currents, learning from their experience. Observers describe these encounters as gentle and almost ceremonial. A dolphin might weave through a group of whales, rubbing against them in greeting, while the whales respond with deep, rumbling calls that echo like thunder underwater. The scene feels ancient, different voices meeting in harmony rather than chaos. Over time, some of these alliances become familiar. Individual dolphins are known to rejoin certain whale pods during migrations, as though revisiting friends. Others stay only for a short stretch, then peel away to rejoin their own kind. Each meeting leaves an imprint, another thread in the complex web of ocean relationships. There's something profoundly hopeful about this. In a world built on difference, dolphins show that understanding can exist without sameness. They navigate the unknown not through dominance, but through openness. Their curiosity bridges gaps that language can't, proving that communication is as much about empathy as sound. When you picture them, the whale's dark forms below, the dolphin's silver bodies above, moving together through endless blue, it feels like a glimpse of perfect cooperation. The sea doesn't divide them, it unites them. And in their shared journey, they carry a message quieter than words, that harmony, at its truest, needs no boundaries. For dolphins, the world is made of sound. Long before their eyes catch light, their minds have already mapped the ocean around them, every curve of rock, every fish, every... For dolphins, the world is made of sound. Long before their eyes catch light, their minds have already mapped the ocean around them, every curve of rock, every fish, every drifting shell, drawn in pulses of clicks and echoes. They see not through vision, but through vibration, building pictures out of invisible ripples. It's a language of space, a quiet symphony of awareness. Echolocation is what scientists call it, a natural sonar system so refined that it borders on the miraculous. A dolphin emits a series of sharp clicks from deep within its forehead through a structure called the melon, which focuses sound like a lens focuses light. The clicks travel through the water, bounce off nearby objects, and return as echoes. Within fractions of a second, the dolphin interprets these echoes, forming an image so detailed it can tell not just where something is, but what it's made of and how it's moving. To us, sound feels abstract. To a dolphin, it's tangible. The echo of a fish might reveal the rhythm of its heartbeat, the density of its bones, or the softness of its skin. They can sense an object hidden behind another, or detect the air in a diver's lungs. What we see with our eyes in color and shape, they perceive in texture and motion.
Imagine drifting through a world where every sound is a shape, the slow pulse of coral, the shimmer of bubbles, the soft hum of another dolphin nearby. In such a world, silence isn't emptiness, it's space waiting to be discovered. Dolphins live inside this constant hum of awareness, perceiving not only what's visible, but what lies just beyond. Even their social lives depend on sound. Through echolocation, they can identify friends, sense emotions, and maintain connection across distance. Each click becomes both a tool and a form of touch, reaching out, gathering information, and returning it as understanding. Echolocation also brings calm precision to their movements. When navigating through darkness or crowded reefs, they don't rush or collide. They glide, adjusting with perfect timing, their awareness forming a 3D image of everything around them. It's a form of mindfulness so complete that nothing escapes it, not a shifting current, not the faintest sound. In a way, echolocation turns the ocean into music. The dolphins move through notes instead of boundaries, hearing the shape of the world rather than merely seeing it. It's a way of living that values listening above all else. For humans, seeing feels like certainty. For dolphins, listening is certainty. They remind us that perception isn't only about looking harder. Sometimes it's about hearing more deeply. So when you picture them swimming through the dark blue deep, remember, they're not lost in shadow. They're surrounded by light made of sound, a quiet, perfect picture of the world that exists only for those who truly listen. At the edges of warm, shallow reefs where sunlight scatters like gold dust through the water, dolphins gather for a ritual that feels both playful and purposeful. They aren't chasing fish or showing off their speed. Instead, they move slowly, almost reverently, brushing their bodies against the coral below. The sight is mesmerizing. A pod gliding through a living garden, touching the world with care. For years, divers thought this was just curiosity, a bit of harmless play. But researchers began noticing patterns. The dolphins weren't bumping into corals at random. They were seeking out specific species, soft corals, gorgonians, and sponges known to contain natural antibacterial and healing compounds. It turns out the dolphins were visiting an underwater spa. Each movement is deliberate. A dolphin glides over the coral, rubbing its sides, fins, or belly against the surface. Then it circles back, letting another take its turn. The pressure is light, enough to make contact, but never enough to harm the reef. The corals respond by releasing mucus that carries bioactive substances into the water, soothing the dolphin's skin and helping remove bacteria or dead cells. It's self-care, guided by instinct and intelligence. You can almost imagine how it feels. The texture of coral brushing against smooth skin, the warmth of shallow water, the weightlessness of being cared for by nature itself. Dolphins don't do this in haste. They move as if savoring the moment, slow, graceful, mindful. Every pass across the coral is a quiet dialogue between species. You heal me, I touch gently. Even young dolphins learn this ritual early. They follow their mothers, watching and mimicking the technique, rubbing themselves lightly against the same patches of coral. Over generations, the knowledge continues, not as a genetic reflex, but as culture, something taught and remembered. Few animals practice such learned healing behaviors, and fewer still do it with such gentleness. To the casual observer, it might look like a dance. Dolphins weaving between coral pillars, light shimmering over their backs, bubbles rising in slow streams. But it's more than beauty. It's wisdom, an understanding that balance keeps life healthy, and that even the smallest creature, a coral polyp, a sponge, has a part in the ocean's harmony. When they're finished, the dolphins drift away, clean and calm, their skins smooth and renewed. The coral garden sways quietly behind them, untouched, glowing in filtered light. No struggle, no taking, just exchange. There's something deeply peaceful in that image. Living beings tending to themselves through care, not control. In a world where survival often looks harsh, dolphins remind us that it can also look gentle, a slow glide through sunlight and color, healing with every brush of the sea. In the dim stillness of the ocean, beneath a halo of light filtering from above, a mother dolphin begins to move more slowly. Her companions stay close, circling gently, their presence quiet and protective. She's about to bring new life into the sea. There's no sound, no frenzy, only calm, deliberate motion. When the calf emerges, something remarkable happens. It comes into the world tail first. Most mammals are born head first, but for dolphins that would be dangerous. If the head appeared first, the calf might inhale water before it ever reaches the surface. So evolution chose another way, a gentle inversion that lets the birth unfold safely. As the small tail slips free, the mother rests for a moment, breathing steadily. Then, with a final push, the rest of the calf appears, sleek, silver, and still. Within seconds, the mother nudges her newborn upward, guiding it to the surface with the care of someone who has done this before. The calf breaks through the water and takes its first breath, a soft, fragile exhale that turns instantly into life. Around them, the pod closes in. Other females, often called aunties, assist the mother, swimming beside her to keep the calf stable. One may position herself below, helping lift the newborn higher to ensure its first breaths come easily. The scene unfolds in perfect silence, yet every dolphin knows its role. The ocean cradles them like a midwife, waves rocking gently, currents carrying calm. Within minutes, the calf begins to swim, staying pressed close against its mother's side. She keeps it there with gentle contact, helping it match her rhythm and guiding it to breathe in sync. The pod remains nearby for days, forming a moving nursery that protects both mother and child. It's not just instinct, it's family. Cooperation built from love as much as survival. The tail-first birth isn't just biology, it's poetry written in adaptation. It shows foresight in nature, a design of safety and tenderness entwined. The moment the calf surfaces, the first breath it takes connects two worlds, air and water, life and sound. That breath marks the start of awareness, the first exchange between mother and child in a world that never stops moving. In those first hours, the calf's skin still bears faint creases from the womb,
soft and pale against her mother's smooth gray. Her presence soothes it, clicks and gentle hums, creating a language of reassurance. Soon the calf's breathing finds rhythm, and the two swim together through the morning light, side by side, hearts steady and close. It's hard not to see grace in such a beginning. Life in the ocean starts not with noise or panic, but with balance, a single breath rising through calm water. Tail first, the dolphin enters the world the same way it will live in it, guided by rhythm, trust, and the quiet wisdom of the sea. Beneath the still surface of the sea, where light fades into a tranquil blue, dolphins speak in whispers. Not the sharp clicks of echolocation or the bright whistles used to call across distance, but something softer, a kind of cool, almost musical rolling gently through the water. These are their contact sounds, their way of saying, "I'm here with you." While their more famous whistles can travel miles, these low, tender tones are meant for moments of closeness. A mother hums them to her calf as they swim side by side. Friends within a pod exchange them while drifting together in quiet currents. They're not signals of alarm or command, but of calm, reassurance woven into sound. Underwater recordings have revealed these gentle noises, slow pulses, subtle vibrations, and hum-like patterns that differ from the usual language of dolphins. Some last only a second, others flow in long, steady tones that fade like sighs. The sounds travel easily through water, wrapping the dolphins in a cocoon of presence, a wordless promise that no one is alone. These contact sounds serve an important purpose. The ocean can be vast and dark, and dolphins often swim just far enough apart that they can't always see one another. The soft calls bridge that distance. They let companions know they're nearby, still moving, still safe, still together. To the listener, it's almost like hearing the ocean breathe. Each sound blends seamlessly into the natural rhythm of the sea. It's communication without intrusion, not meant to dominate the environment, but to harmonize with it. Mothers use these soft coos most often. In the first months after birth, a calf depends completely on its mother for guidance and comfort. Her gentle hums serve as both a beacon and a lullaby. Even when separated by a few body lengths, the calf can follow the sound, feeling it more than hearing it, a vibration through the water that leads back to safety. But adults use them too, during rest, social bonding, or times of calm. In those moments, the pod doesn't need high-pitched whistles or playful splashes. Instead, they drift together, exchanging these quiet notes as though reminding each other, "We're here, we belong." To humans, the beauty of these sounds lies in their subtlety. They're easy to overlook, like whispers between waves. But they reveal a truth we often forget, that connection doesn't always need volume. Sometimes presence itself is enough. If you could listen beneath the calm sea on a still night, you might hear it, the faint hum of dolphins nearby, soft and rhythmic, carrying through the deep. Not a call for help, not a command, just a conversation of comfort,
a melody of peace that never truly ends.
There are moments in the ocean that feel almost sacred, when even the water seems to slow, as though aware of something it cannot name. A dolphin lies still near the surface, its body drifting with the current. Around it, others move in slow circles. No whistles, no splashing, only the faint sound of breath and the hush of small waves. It looks like silence made visible. When one dolphin dies, the pod doesn't simply leave. They stay, sometimes for hours, sometimes for days, keeping close to the fallen member. One or two may nudge the body gently, as if urging it to rise again. Others linger nearby, breathing softly, their movements measured and calm. To watch them is to see grief expressed without sound. This behavior has been recorded across species and oceans. Scientists call it vigil behavior, but the word hardly captures the tenderness within it. Mothers have been seen carrying their dead calves for miles, balancing the small body carefully on their rostrum, surfacing again and again so it can breathe. The image is heartbreaking, a gesture that shows understanding or perhaps hope that life might return. It's not mere instinct. There's no survival advantage in staying. In fact, remaining near a lifeless body can draw predators or slow migration. Yet dolphins do it anyway. They seem to recognize the difference between sleep and death, to sense the absence where presence used to be. Their circling isn't confusion, it's acknowledgement. The other members of the pod often join the mother or the companion, swimming nearby as though forming a protective boundary. The water between them feels heavy, filled with unspoken connection. Every few minutes one surfaces, exhales, and returns, their pattern steady, rhythmic, respectful. Observers have described how the pod eventually drifts away, one by one, when the current begins to carry the body farther. There's no ceremony, no cry, just departure, slow and reluctant. The ocean swallows the scene quietly, as if keeping the memory for itself. This kind of behavior reveals something extraordinary about dolphin minds. It suggests emotion, not just attachment, but mourning. They seem to understand what loss means, not only to the one who's gone, but to those who remain. It's empathy made visible in motion. And perhaps it's fitting that their grief is expressed in circles, not in winds, not in endings, but in loops, as though love in the ocean never truly disappears. It just moves, softer each time, like ripples spreading outward until they fade into calm. So when a dolphin dies, the sea becomes a place of stillness. Companions linger, touching, waiting, remembering. Not because they must, but because they care. And in that quiet shared space, life honors itself the only way it knows how, through presence, through patience, and through love that doesn't let go too soon. There's a special kind of silence that follows a dolphin's leap.
For a moment, the sea breaks open. A flash of silver arcs through sunlight, droplets scattering like glass, and then the water closes again, smooth and unbothered. To most who see it, it looks like play, but sometimes it's something else entirely. Curiosity. Dolphins don't leap only to show off or celebrate. At times they do it to see. The ocean, vast and deep, hides much from those who live below its surface. A quick, high leap gives a brief but sweeping view of the world above, the horizon, the light, the shape of distant things. From that vantage point, a dolphin can glimpse another pod, a boat, or the faint outline of an island far away. It's a small act of exploration, lasting only seconds, but rich in purpose. Scientists call this behavior spy hopping when done vertically, or porpoising when done at speed. But when dolphins rise slowly and leap just high enough to look around, it's something in between, a moment of observation. They twist slightly in the air, eyes open, taking in what we might call scenery. Then they return to the water as softly as they left it. This leap isn't rushed. It doesn't have the frantic energy of a chase. It feels measured, almost meditative, a single heartbeat of curiosity. For a species that already sees through sound, this urge to glimpse the wider world feels profoundly human. They live surrounded by blue, yet still wonder what lies beyond it. Sometimes several dolphins rise one after another, like notes in a melody, each leap catching the same patch of light, each splash echoing the last. Perhaps they're sharing the view or simply sharing the moment. It's easy to imagine what that must feel like, breaking through the calm water into brightness, feeling the wind before falling back into cool silence. To observers, it's one of the most peaceful sights the ocean offers, a reminder that even in nature, curiosity doesn't need noise or urgency. It can be soft, thoughtful, and unhurried. In a way, their leap mirrors our own small acts of wonder. Looking up at the stars, pausing to listen to rain, glancing past the familiar to glimpse something new. The dolphin's curiosity isn't about survival alone. It's about connection, the desire to understand the world that holds them. So, the next time a dolphin rises from the waves, think of it not as play, but as a question, a graceful moment of awareness, reaching beyond water into sky. For those few seconds, it lives between two worlds, one of silence, one of light, and in that fleeting space, curiosity becomes beauty. In the quiet vastness of the sea, intelligence takes a different shape. The dolphin's mind, hidden beneath a smooth forehead, is a marvel of folds and curves, a landscape of thought far more intricate than our own. Each ridge and groove adds surface area, multiplying the connections that make awareness possible. In sheer complexity, their brains rival and in some ways surpass ours. A human brain folds roughly 2,500 square centimeters of cortex into a skull. A dolphin's folds stretch far beyond that. Dense, elaborate, beautifully coiled. To scientists, it's not just size that matters, but pattern. These folds increase communication between regions, allowing emotional depth and social understanding to flourish alongside memory and sensory perception. Dolphins live in a world that demands this kind of intelligence.
They navigate vast oceans, communicate through hundreds of distinct sounds, and form friendships that last decades. Their minds hold maps of migration routes, memories of voices, an awareness of who's who within their pod. It's not just learning, it's remembering in the truest sense, storing feelings alongside fact. What sets their brains apart isn't only processing power, but emotional capacity. The limbic system, the part associated with empathy and bonding, is exceptionally large in dolphins. This is the architecture of compassion, a design for connection rather than domination. When one dolphin is distressed, others respond. When one is injured, others help it breathe. That behavior doesn't come from instinct alone. It comes from understanding. To imagine their thought process is to imagine emotion wrapped in clarity. They don't just act, they feel. Their awareness extends beyond themselves, into the group, into the rhythm of others' breathing, into the pulse of shared movement. It's the kind of consciousness that values harmony over haste. Researchers have even found that dolphins exhibit mirror self-recognition, a rare sign of self-awareness, and demonstrate behaviors that resemble joy, grief, and affection. They communicate with nuance, using tone and rhythm to convey feeling as much as meaning. Their brains, shaped by millions of years underwater, are instruments of empathy tuned to the frequency of life itself. To us, their intelligence feels alien. It doesn't build or write, but it understands and remembers. It doesn't conquer nature, it belongs to it. Their thoughts are quiet but deep, carried not in words, but in awareness. When a dolphin glides through calm water beside another, their movements are perfectly aligned. That synchrony isn't mechanical, it's emotional resonance. Somewhere within those folds of gray matter lies the wisdom to coexist peacefully, to sense another's presence not as competition, but as connection. Perhaps that's the real lesson inside those folded brains, that the highest form of intelligence might not be the one that invents, but the one that feels. In the endless blue, the dolphin doesn't just think, it remembers, it understands, it cares. Far below the waves, the ocean is never truly silent. It hums with life, with the faint rustle of sand, the pulse of distant currents, and, if you listen closely, the soft, musical chatter of dolphins. But what's remarkable isn't just that they talk, it's how they do it. Each pod has its own way of speaking, a dialect of whistles and clicks that marks who they are, where they belong, and who they love. To human ears, these sounds may seem random, rising notes, quick bursts, playful chirps, but to dolphins, they carry meaning. One pod's rhythm might roll like a song sung in long phrases, while another's speech is quick, sharp, and syncopated. It's as if the ocean itself hosts dozens of accents, each one shaped by time, place, and family. Young dolphins learn this dialect from their mothers and podmates. In their early months, calves listen constantly, mimicking tones until they can match the group's exact sound pattern. It's their first language, not just for communication, but for identity. A dolphin from one pod can instantly recognize another by the way it speaks. It's the difference between home and elsewhere, between familiar melody and foreign tune. Over generations, these dialects evolve. Environmental sounds, the depth of the sea, the shape of the coastline, even the echo of coral influence the rhythm and pitch of a pod's voice. In quiet bays, dolphins may develop softer tones that carry gently across calm water. In open seas, sharper clicks travel farther. The result is a musical fingerprint unique to each family. But it's more than sound, it's culture. Dolphins don't just share genes, they share traditions, ways of moving, hunting, and speaking. Their dialects act like oral histories, passed from mother to calf, pod to pod, echoing through generations long after individual voices fade. It's a language woven with memory. When pods meet in the open ocean, they sometimes exchange sounds, short bursts of imitation, as if introducing themselves. They may blend rhythms for a while, communicating through shared tones before parting again. It's peaceful, polite, and beautifully symbolic. The sea's version of conversation between neighbors. To imagine this world is to imagine an underwater symphony, each family playing its own melody. Together, they create the soundtrack of the ocean, thousands of small, overlapping songs, rising and falling with the tides. What we call dialect, they call connection. Every click, every whistle carries not just information, but emotion, the voice of home. And somewhere, miles apart, two dolphins might still recognize each other by that sound alone, the echo of a shared song returning through the deep. In a world built from sound instead of sight, their voices are everything. Maps, memories, and lullabies. Theirs is a language not written on paper, but carried on waves, a music of belonging that never fades. There are days in the open sea when the water lies calm, the sky stretches wide, and dolphins decide to play. They swim near the surface, not hunting or traveling, just exploring the gentle rhythm of the day. One dives down, nudges a fish, then flicks its head upward, sending the fish flying into the air. A silver flash, a glint of sunlight, and the game begins. The fish arcs through space, and before it can fall, the dolphin leaps, catching it again with practiced precision. Sometimes it lets the fish go, only to repeat the motion, tossing it higher each time. Other dolphins join in, taking turns in the same graceful loop. What looks like chaos is actually choreography, a spontaneous ballet of breath, water, and joy. Soon the seabirds arrive. Gulls, terns, or frigate birds circle above, drawn by the motion. They dive toward the tossed fish, hoping for a quick meal. But the dolphins seem to anticipate this, timing their throws to the birds' swoops. A few times the birds win, catching the fish mid-air and flying off triumphantly. Other times the dolphins retrieve it, continuing the game with cheerful persistence. To observers, the scene feels almost playful across species. There's no aggression, no desperation, just interaction, curiosity, and rhythm. It's as if both sides understand the rules. The dolphins toss, the birds chase, and the ocean watches quietly as laughter ripples through movement. This behavior isn't rare.
Around coasts and islands worldwide, dolphins have been spotted turning the sea into a playground, tossing fish, passing seaweed between them, even creating games that seem to have no goal other than enjoyment. Their intelligence gives them the luxury of curiosity. Their hearts give them the instinct for fun. Play in nature is often rehearsal, a way to practice skills or strengthen bonds. For dolphins, it's also a connection. When they toss fish or drift alongside birds, they're interacting beyond species lines, exploring relationships that have nothing to do with competition. It's life acknowledging life simply for the joy of it. There's a calm beauty in how it unfolds. The sea reflects the sky. Birds dart above. Dolphins rise through the mirrored water. And for a moment, everything, air, light, motion, feels in harmony. No command, no chaos, just coexistence in rhythm. Scientists often speak of play as a sign of intelligence, but perhaps it's also a sign of peace, of creatures so secure in their world that they have time to celebrate it. The dolphins' game with the birds isn't survival, it's celebration. And when the game finally ends, the fish gone, the birds drifting away, the dolphins sink quietly back beneath the surface, their reflections vanishing into blue. The ocean closes, but the feeling lingers that even in the wildest places, joy can be gentle and play can be poetry. The ocean hides 1,000 quiet lessons, and dolphins have mastered the art of passing them down. In certain shallow bays off Australia's coast, you might see a dolphin diving with something peculiar on its nose, a small cone-shaped sea sponge. At first glance, it looks playful, even whimsical, but this isn't decoration or distraction. It's a tool and a story of teaching as old as the sea itself. Among the sandy seafloors where sharp coral and hidden shells wait, food lies buried, small fish hiding beneath sediment, tucked between rocks. To reach them, a dolphin must nudge and probe with its rostrum, but those same rocks can scrape, sting, or injure. Somewhere, long ago, one clever dolphin found a solution, a sea sponge, soft yet sturdy, pressed over the nose like a glove. It allowed safe foraging without harm, and then she taught her calf. This behavior, called sponging, isn't instinctive. Not every dolphin does it, and it doesn't appear automatically at birth. Mothers demonstrate it slowly, patiently. The calf watches as she finds a sponge, fits it perfectly over her snout, and begins to forage. It learns through observation, imitation, and repetition, the same way human children learn by watching their parents. Over time, sponging became more than survival. It became tradition. In some dolphin communities, mostly females practice it, passing the knowledge like inheritance. Young dolphins spend years alongside their mothers, not just learning where to find food, but how to approach the sea with caution and thought. Each movement carries the echo of wisdom learned from another generation. Scientists were astonished when they discovered this. Tool use had long been considered a hallmark of primates, birds, and humans, but dolphins quietly proved that culture doesn't belong to land alone. What they do underwater mirrors what we do on land. Protect, teach, remember. And it's not just the act that's beautiful, it's the patience within it. A dolphin mother doesn't rush. She repeats her motions, waiting until her calf understands, until it mimics her perfectly. The lesson isn't just about safety, it's about mindfulness. The sponge is more than a tool. It's a symbol of gentle intelligence, of learning shaped by love. Even when the calf grows older and swims alone, the memory of that teaching remains. Years later, it may still place a sponge on its nose before diving, a small echo of its mother's care carried forward. In the quiet blue, where sound travels farther than light, teaching becomes touch, rhythm, and presence. A mother's movement becomes language. A lesson becomes legacy. It's easy to forget how much life under the surface mirrors our own. Parents guiding, children watching, knowledge shared not through words but through trust. In that exchange, the dolphin shows us something universal, that wisdom is not the privilege of humans, but the gentle inheritance of every caring creature who teaches another how to live safely, kindly, and well. There's a moment, often just before dawn, when the sea holds its breath. The waves are low, the wind still, and in that suspended quiet, a pod of dolphins drift slowly near the surface. They aren't asleep, not entirely, and yet they aren't awake either. Each one moves in perfect rhythm, rising gently to breathe, then sinking again into stillness. The sound that breaks the silence isn't a splash or whistle, but something softer, the calm exhale of life at rest. When dolphins rest, their breathing becomes almost meditative. Every few minutes, a faint puff marks the surface, a slow, steady sigh through the blowhole, followed by a short, smooth inhale. The timing is precise, never hurried. The ocean's pulse and their own seem to blend, forming a single shared rhythm. Unlike humans, dolphins can't sleep completely. They must stay partly conscious to breathe and watch for danger. So they let one side of their brain rest while the other remains awake, alternating throughout the night. The result is a state of balance, half awareness, half dream, where every breath is deliberate. In this stillness, their movements soften. They drift in pairs or small clusters, often close enough that their fins touch lightly in reassurance. The water carries them like a cradle, rocking with gentle currents. Even their heart rate slows, perfectly in tune with their measured breaths. Observers describe the sight as peaceful beyond words, as if the sea itself were meditating through them. The rhythm of their breathing is so consistent that it resembles a mantra, a natural form of mindfulness. Each exhale releases the tension of movement. Each inhale restores calm awareness. For the dolphins, this isn't a learned practice. It's simply how they exist, aware but tranquil, resting without ever fully disconnecting. There's wisdom in that balance. To rest without forgetting the world, to stay conscious but untroubled. It's a state many humans try to reach through meditation. Dolphins live it every day, teaching us that calm doesn't mean absence of thought. It means harmony between stillness and presence. If you could float beside them in that hour, before the first light touches the surface, you'd hear the rhythm clearly. A soft breath here, another there, perfectly spaced, perfectly calm. No tension, no rush, just being. As dawn rises and the sea brightens, the pod slowly stirs. Their breathing grows a little quicker, their motion a little more playful. But for that quiet span of night, they exist in a world without worry, only rhythm, water, and breath. It's easy to think of peace as silence or stillness, but dolphins remind us it can also be movement, slow, steady, deliberate, breathing not to survive, but to stay in balance with the living sea. In a world as close-knit as a dolphin pod, there are bound to be moments of friction, competition for food, space, or attention. But unlike many animals, dolphins rarely let conflict turn violent. They've learned a different way, the quiet art of distance, the language of calm. When tension rises, the water doesn't erupt with aggression. Instead, the energy changes, a subtle shift in movement, a pause in play, a gentle turning away. Dolphins communicate through motion more than force. A flick of the tail, a slow roll of the body, a brief widening of space, these are their words for enough. One dolphin may swim slightly apart, giving the other room to breathe. Within minutes, the mood settles like stirred sand drifting back to the seabed. Scientists studying dolphin pods have been struck by how rarely they fight. Even when dominance must be established, it's done with restraint. Their interactions carry signals of awareness, a sense that peace serves them better than victory. Physical aggression wastes energy and weakens the pod's unity, while calm resolution keeps their bonds strong. Their communication is rich in nuance. A dolphin can express irritation without violence, an abrupt movement of the head, a sudden stillness, or a change in whistle tone. The other understands immediately and adjusts. There's no shouting match, no escalation. Instead, they create distance, allowing emotion to cool. Then, just as quietly, they close the space again, returning to gentle synchrony. This restraint isn't indifference, it's intelligence. Dolphins live by cooperation, hunting together, protecting calves, navigating long migrations as one. Harmony is survival, and every action reflects that truth. They seem to understand instinctively that peace must be maintained, not enforced. Observers have seen pairs that once showed tension, later swimming side by side again, brushing fins as if nothing had happened. The gesture isn't apology or submission. It's reassurance. It says, "We are still together. The ocean is big enough for both of us." Even among young dolphins, disputes over play or food are brief. A calf may nip or push another, but the correction is quick, followed by a return to balance. Mothers guide this learning quietly, teaching their young that strength lies in self-control. In their world, silence carries meaning. There's no need for spectacle. The ocean rewards those who move with its rhythm, not against it. And dolphins, perhaps more than any other creature, have mastered that rhythm, understanding that calmness is not weakness but wisdom. If you could drift beside them after one of these moments, you'd never know tension had passed. The pod moves as one again, graceful, unhurried, perfectly in sync. The ocean carries no memory of conflict, only the soft exhale of peace restored. Maybe that's the lesson they offer us, that not every disagreement needs to end in noise. Sometimes harmony begins simply with patience, space, and the choice to stay gentle. On certain mornings, when the sea lies smooth as glass and the wind hasn't yet begun to stir, the ocean becomes a mirror. Light dances gently across its surface, and a dolphin rises into that calm, hovering just below the reflection. For a moment, it stops moving, fins still, eyes open, and looks. What it sees above isn't another creature or a rival, it's itself. Dolphins are among the few beings on Earth known to recognize their own reflection. In aquariums and research settings, they've passed the mirror test, turning, twisting, inspecting parts of their bodies they can't normally see, realizing that the image in front of them is not another dolphin, but them. But in the wild, the ocean offers its own mirror. Calm water reflects perfectly, and dolphins seem drawn to that quiet surface as if aware that it holds a familiar presence. Observers have watched them approach still water with surprising care. They rise slowly, almost reverently, aligning their heads just beneath the surface so that light reflects evenly. Then they move gently side to side, studying how their own image shifts and shimmers. A tilt of the head, a flutter of the fin, a pause, and the reflection moves in kind. The realization seems to amuse them, sometimes even delight them. It's not vanity, it's curiosity, a peaceful exploration of identity. They appear to test what happens when they make small motions or when ripples distort their features. Some even blow bubbles, watching the mirror break and reform, playing with their reflection like a child experimenting with shadow and light. In these moments, the ocean becomes both teacher and canvas. The dolphin learns not through words, but through seeing itself as part of the world, one consciousness among many, distinct yet reflected in everything around it. It's a scene that feels almost spiritual, awareness meeting awareness in silence. Scientists often describe this self-recognition as evidence of intelligence. But perhaps it's more than that. Perhaps it's evidence of peace. To pause in still water, to simply be in one's own company without fear or urgency, is an act of profound calm. The dolphin doesn't hurry away. It lingers, content in its reflection. When the wind finally rises and ripples spread across the surface, the mirror fades. The dolphin dives, vanishing beneath the shimmer, its image scattering into light. But the moment remains, a memory written in water, a glimpse of a creature who not only lives in the ocean, but understands itself within it. If there is beauty in self-awareness, dolphins embody it quietly. No words, no mirrors of glass, only still water, sunlight, and the simple grace of knowing who you are when the world grows calm enough to show you.
Beneath the blue stillness of the ocean, a soft conversation unfolds, one so gentle it barely stirs the water. A dolphin mother glides beside her newborn calf, their bodies close enough to touch. She makes a sound, not the sharp clicks used for hunting, nor the loud whistles used to call her pod, but something quieter, tender. It's a whisper made of sound, a secret lullaby carried through the sea. For the first weeks of life, dolphin mothers speak differently. Their clicks soften, lowering in volume until they barely travel beyond the calf's side. The ocean around them is vast and full of listening ears, so she keeps her voice private, meant for one listener only. Each calf learns this sound, the rhythm, the tone, the gentle pulse, as its mother's signature comfort. Scientists who have recorded these exchanges describe them as acoustic whispers. The clicks are intimate, low, and rhythmic, repeated in soft patterns that calm the newborn and help it recognize her voice. When the calf drifts a little away, she clicks again, a sound of reassurance, a thread that guides it home. In these first months, sound is everything. The calf can't yet swim far or navigate on its own. It learns through listening, its mother's breaths, her hums, her movements through the water. The whispered clicks tell it when to rise for air, when to follow, when to rest. Each tone carries meaning, but more than that, it carries love. To hear these whispers underwater is to hear trust itself. They echo softly between two hearts, mother and child, their world enclosed by sound rather than walls. The mother never shouts. She doesn't need to. Her calf knows her voice the way a heartbeat knows rhythm, instinctively, completely. As the calf grows stronger, the whispers begin to change. They become clearer, louder, more like the full language of dolphins. But the early patterns, those first lullabies, stay in memory. Even years later, the calf can recognize that sound if it hears it again. It's the first bond formed and the last one forgotten. There's something almost human in the tenderness of it, the desire to protect, to teach, to soothe without startling. The ocean may be vast, but in that small circle of sound between mother and calf, it becomes a cradle. The waves rock gently above. Light ripples across their skin like the flicker of candlelight, and through it all, the mother's quiet clicks pulse like a heartbeat, steady, safe, eternal. Somewhere in the deep, a calf sleeps against its mother's side, comforted by a rhythm only it can hear. No words, no melody, yet somehow the meaning is clear. You are safe. You are loved. In the soft, sunlit blue, where the water turns warm and slow, two dolphins glide toward each other. There's no chase, no rush, no sound. They meet gently, brushing sides for a moment, a smooth, graceful contact, like a wave folding over another. Then they drift apart again, calm and content. It's not a game, it's a greeting. Among dolphins, touch carries meaning deeper than words. They rub their bodies together in quiet moments, a gentle pass of the side, a soft nudge of the fin, a slow circle around a companion. It's how they say hello, how they say, I remember you, how they say, we're still connected. In a world of constant motion, these small gestures hold everything steady. Observers often describe these interactions as underwater hugs. When two dolphins reunite after time apart, they might swim belly to belly for a few seconds, or let their fins brush together as they move in sync. Sometimes one presses lightly against another's side, as if to anchor the moment. Not dominance, not play, just reassurance. These touches have real emotional weight. Studies show that dolphins, much like humans, release oxytocin, the affectionate hormone, through affectionate contact. Their touch calms tension, reaffirms friendship, and restores harmony after conflict. It's communication without sound, empathy written through motion. Even calves learn this language early. They rest against their mothers constantly, comforted by the rhythm of her movement. Later, as they join the pod, they begin to grate others the same way, rubbing gently to form new bonds. The behavior carries into adulthood, woven into daily life, not as habit, but as expression. If you watch a pod from above, you'll see these touches forming a quiet choreography. Pairs drift together, separate, then join again, like dancers in slow current. No splashes, no competition, just calm gestures of belonging. In those moments, the ocean feels softer, less vast, as if the water itself joins in the embrace. Humans speak of affection in words. Dolphins speak it in silence. Their gestures remind us that connection doesn't need volume. It only needs sincerity. A single brush of a fin across another's back can mean safety, recognition, or joy. It's easy to imagine how it feels, the smooth contact of skin against skin, the warmth of another body close by in cool water, the comfort of being known. To the dolphins, this touch is both greeting and gratitude, and wordless acknowledgement that companionship itself is enough. And when they part, it's gentle. They drift away like two waves separating, leaving only faint ripples where they met. Yet the meaning lingers, invisible, quiet, and real. Perhaps that's what makes their world so peaceful. The understanding that sometimes the most powerful language isn't sound or gesture, but the simple act of closeness, a moment of touch shared between two beings who don't need words to know they belong.
Long before the first raindrop touches the sea, dolphins already know it's coming. The water tells them. Somewhere deep in the quiet blue, the pressure shifts, ever so slightly, as the atmosphere above begins to stir. To us, it's invisible. To them, it's a whisper. Dolphins feel the world through more than sight or sound. Their entire bodies are instruments of perception, tuned to the subtlest movements of the ocean. A tiny dip in barometric pressure sends signals downward through the water, changing its density, its rhythm. To a dolphin, that change is unmistakable, like a faint vibration in a familiar song. Before the rain starts, they often slow their swimming, surfacing with deliberate ease. Some pods draw closer together, adjusting their path as though anticipating a shift in the sea's mood. When the first droplets finally fall, the sound above echoes faintly below, a soft patter, distant yet distinct. The dolphins turn upward, curious, as if greeting the weather itself. Researchers have observed these reactions repeatedly. Even in captivity, dolphins respond to approaching storms before any thunder rolls in. Their sensitivity to pressure changes is linked to the same systems that guide their navigation. The inner ear structures and specialized skin receptors that interpret vibration and flow. For them, the ocean isn't background, it's communication. Every current, every ripple, every drop carries meaning. When rain finally begins, dolphins don't hide. They often swim near the surface, weaving through the patterns of falling water. The rain forms a shimmering curtain above them, and they seem to explore it, surfacing into the drops, exhaling softly, then diving again into calm. It's as if they experience weather not as threat, but as texture, another rhythm of the living world. To live like this is to exist in perfect awareness, connected to something both immense and gentle. The dolphin's gift isn't supernatural. Its sensitivity is refined by time. The sea speaks, and they listen. There's poetry in their quiet anticipation, how they rise just before rain, how they feel the pulse of clouds before we ever see them. It's mindfulness in motion, an unspoken harmony between water and sky. Imagine floating beside them during that first rainfall. You'd feel the faint pricks of water above, the hush of bubbles below, the stillness that follows the storm's first sigh. Around you, the dolphins move without hurry, breathing, sensing, waiting, as if they understand that every drop connects heaven to sea. Their world reminds us that awareness doesn't need eyes or words. Sometimes it's enough to listen, to feel the shift before it happens, to breathe in rhythm with what's coming, to know without needing to see. For dolphins, the ocean is never separate from the sky. They live between the two, reading their conversation. One breath, one ripple, one quiet moment before the rain. If you've ever had the rare chance to touch a dolphin, the memory never leaves you. The first surprise is the warmth, not cold or slick like a fish, but softly warm, almost human. Then comes the texture, impossibly smooth, like wet silk drawn beneath your fingertips. It's the feeling of life in motion, calm yet strong, gliding through the water with effortless grace. That warmth isn't an illusion. Beneath the dolphin's skin lies a thick layer of blubber, a natural insulation that keeps body temperature steady no matter how cold the ocean becomes. The warmth you feel is the quiet pulse of their metabolism, the gentle heat of constant movement. In the vast coolness of the sea, a dolphin carries its own small sun within. Their skin itself is a marvel. It's elastic, flexible, and so finely tuned that water flows across it with almost no resistance. The surface renews every 2 to 3 hours, shedding old cells and replacing them with new ones, keeping it perfectly smooth. This constant renewal isn't just for beauty, it's survival. A single rough patch could slow them down or create drag, and so nature made them perpetually new. But to humans, what stands out most isn't the science, it's the sensation. The first moment of contact feels alive. The warmth radiates gently, the skin yielding slightly to touch, yet firm underneath, like something between muscle and silk. It's not like petting an animal, it's like touching calm itself. Marine researchers often describe the experience with reverence. It feels like liquid muscle, one said, alive, warm, and kind. That impression lingers, not just of texture, but of energy. A dolphin seems to carry serenity in its skin, as if the peace of the ocean has become part of its body. The skin also plays a role in their social world. Dolphins brush against each other often, gentle, slow contact that reaffirms connection. The smoothness makes these touches soothing rather than abrasive, each glide a wordless reassurance. I am here. When mothers swim beside their calves, the constant touch of their warm skin becomes both comfort and communication, heartbeat through motion. To imagine it is to picture warmth inside water, an impossible contrast that somehow exists effortlessly. Beneath cool waves, a creature glides, its body both silk and sunlight. Every movement leaves behind ripples of comfort, as though the sea itself has softened for their passing. Perhaps that's why people describe the encounter as strangely emotional. The warmth feels symbolic, a reminder that life in the deep isn't distant or alien, but tender. It's warmth born of breath, carried through silence, wrapped in grace. And when the dolphin swims away, the feeling lingers like memory itself. A trace of warmth on your palm, the smoothness of calm in motion, and the quiet wonder of touching something that feels like the ocean made gentle and alive. In the silent world beneath the waves, vision fades quickly. Light scatters, color disappears, and within a few meters, the sea becomes a blur of blue. But for dolphins, darkness means nothing. Where our eyes fail, their minds light up, not with sight, but with sound. Every click they send into the water is a question, and every echo that returns is an answer. Through echolocation, dolphins can read their surroundings with astonishing detail. The clicks they produce travel through the water, strike an object, and return as echoes that reveal its shape, size, distance, even its internal structure. But what's truly remarkable is how refined their hearing is. In controlled studies, dolphins have been shown to distinguish between different metals, aluminum, copper, brass, steel, using sound alone. To a dolphin, these materials don't just sound different, they feel different through sound. The echoes come back at distinct frequencies, shaped by density and composition. A dolphin's brain interprets those echoes instantly, painting a mental image as vivid as sight. They can sense that one object is hollow, while another is solid, that one is smooth, while another has tiny ridges. What for us would require touch or vision, they understand through hearing. Scientists once tested this ability by placing identical cylinders of different metals underwater. Without hesitation, the dolphin identified each correctly again and again, even when they were hidden behind barriers. Its world was made of echoes, and every echo told the truth. But beyond science, there's something quietly poetic about it. Imagine hearing the world so clearly that even silence has texture. A dolphin swimming through the ocean sees, not in light, but in resonance. Coral feels sharp. Sand feels soft.
and even a distant boat hums with the distinct echo of its hull. Their perception isn't about noise, it's about harmony, the way sound weaves through matter and returns as knowledge. This ability connects them deeply to their environment. Long before humans built machines to read sonar, dolphins had already mastered the art of acoustic vision. Their world is built on awareness, not just reacting to the ocean, but listening to it so completely that nothing escapes attention. When you picture them gliding through the dark, think of it this way. The ocean around them is alive with invisible light. Each click they make illuminates the world for a moment, revealing every ripple, every stone, every living thing in perfect detail. They remind us that knowledge doesn't always come through sight. Sometimes it comes through listening. To hear deeply, to understand without touching, to sense the unseen, that's their gift. So while we see the sea as endless blue, dolphins experience it as music, a vast symphony of echoes where every sound tells a story, and every story helps them find their way home.
The ocean has no borders, no roads to guide the way, just current and sky. And yet, dolphins always seem to know where they belong. They can travel thousands of miles through shifting seas, across storms and seasons, but somehow they return, again and again, to the waters of their birth. Researchers studying dolphin populations have discovered this quiet devotion. Decades after leaving their natal bays or estuaries, some dolphins are spotted again in the very same region, sometimes within a few miles of where they were born. The ocean may stretch endlessly, but memory carries them home. How they navigate remains partly a mystery. Some say they follow subtle magnetic cues. Others believe they rely on sound, the underwater echoes of familiar landscapes. The seafloor, the reefs, even the way waves break along the coast create acoustic fingerprints that dolphins can recognize years later. What we see as endless blue, they hear as a symphony of landmarks. But perhaps it's not only navigation, it's attachment. For dolphins, home isn't just a place, it's the pod, the rhythm, the sound of life once shared. Many are born in calm shallows where their mothers nursed them, where the water carried the first sound of breath. Those memories linger, woven into the senses. And when they return, it's not simply instinct, it's belonging. Some species, like spinner and bottlenose dolphins, have shown remarkable sight fidelity. Tagged individuals have traveled vast distances only to circle back to familiar bays, as if drawn by invisible threads. One female, tracked over 2 decades, returned to her birth region after 12 years, long after her pod had dispersed. She stayed for months, moving through the same channels where her mother once swam. It's easy to imagine what that must feel like, to rise to the surface and see the same horizon where life began, to hear the same underwater echoes, the hum of distant reefs, the whisper of the tide against old sandbanks. For creatures of constant motion, home isn't something they leave behind, it's something they carry inside until they find it again. There's quiet poetry in that. The ocean, vast and endlessness, could scatter them anywhere, yet something, memory, magnetism, love, calls them back to where they first took breath. It's not obligation, it's recognition, a full circle drawn in blue. For humans, the idea of home often feels anchored in walls or land. For dolphins, it's written in sound, warmth, and familiarity, in the way the water once felt against their newborn skin. And when they return, it's as if time folds gently. The traveler becomes the child again, greeted by the same sea that first held them. In a world without maps, their journey is a quiet promise that no matter how far you go, there's always something waiting, a memory, a rhythm, a home that still knows your name. There's a certain kind of magic that happens at sea. When the water is calm, the engine hums softly, and the sun glints on the horizon. Then, out of nowhere, they appear, sleek gray forms cutting through the waves, moving in perfect unison beside the boat. Dolphins escorting quietly, as if they'd been waiting for company. For centuries, sailors have spoken of this, of dolphins racing beside ships, leaping from the foam, weaving through the bow waves. Some saw it as good luck, others as a blessing from the sea. But beneath the legend lies something simpler and more beautiful: companionship. Dolphins don't follow boats for food. Studies show they rarely feed while doing it. Instead, they seem drawn to the rhythm, the steady pulse of movement, the echo of waves against the hull. Perhaps it reminds them of their own pod, of motion shared and sound reflected. Or perhaps in the great loneliness of the ocean, they simply enjoy the company. When they swim alongside, they synchronize effortlessly with the boat's speed, darting ahead, circling back, always staying close enough to be seen. They surf the pressure wave at the bow, using physics like a dance partner. For them, it's play, grace, and exploration all at once. Sometimes they turn sideways to look up, their dark eyes catching the light, as if to say, "I see you." There's no fear in the exchange, only curiosity. Humans lean over the rail, smiling. Dolphins glide beneath, answering with their presence. For a few minutes, two very different worlds move together in rhythm. No words, no need. Just parallel lives sharing motion across the same sea. These escorts often happen on long routes where boats cross open water for hours. The dolphins appear suddenly, stay for a while, then vanish back into the deep. A fleeting companionship, brief but unforgettable. Even the sound changes. The splash of water against the hull seems lighter, brighter, as if their joy changes the sea itself. Some researchers believe this behavior may be social practice, a way for dolphins to coordinate movement, hone agility, and satisfy their endless curiosity. But there's an undeniable emotional dimension to it. They seem to enjoy the presence of something large, steady, and alive. In their own way, they're greeting travelers through their home. When they finally leave, the sea feels quieter. The boat continues on, but those who witnessed it often describe a strange peace, a sense of having been acknowledged by something wise and free. The dolphins, somewhere below, resume their path, disappearing into the endless blue. But for that brief stretch of time, two journeys became one. A boat and a pod, sharing space, both moving forward,
both carried by the same gentle rhythm of the sea. And maybe that's what it means to be alive together, to travel through vastness, meet for a moment, and part in quiet understanding.
The ocean holds endless stories of life and movement, but few are as quietly powerful as this: dolphins guiding giants home. On certain coastlines, rescuers and researchers have witnessed it. A small pod of dolphins circling a stranded whale, nudging, calling, and leading it gently toward deeper water. It begins with sound. Dolphins are acutely sensitive to distress, able to pick up low, irregular calls that ripple far through the sea. When they sense something wrong, a whale disoriented in a shallow tide, lost in murky estuaries, they approach not in fear, but with purpose. They move in deliberate arcs, clicking and whistling softly, as if reassuring the larger creature that help has arrived. One of the most famous accounts comes from New Zealand, where a pod of dolphins was seen guiding two pygmy sperm whales away from shore. The whales had been trapped repeatedly in shallow sandbanks, confused and panicking. Humans tried to help, but each time the whales turned back. Then the dolphins appeared, led by a matriarch known to locals, swimming tight circles around whales, herding them gently toward the open sea. This time the whales followed. Within minutes, the group slipped past the breakers and vanished into the deep blue. There was no obvious reward, no food, no advantage, only empathy, expressed through motion. It was as if the dolphins simply understood that the giants were lost and decided to help. Stories like this have appeared around the world, from the Pacific to the Mediterranean. Each time the pattern is the same: patience, guidance, and gentle persistence. The dolphins stay close, sometimes surfacing beside the distressed whale again and again, as if to keep it calm. Their movements are slow, careful, like a friend walking alongside someone in darkness. Science calls it prosocial behavior, helping another being at a cost to oneself. But there's something more profound in it, something emotional. Dolphins seem to recognize suffering even in creatures unlike themselves. Their communication and awareness reach beyond their species into a shared understanding of life itself. It's humbling to imagine. In the vastness of the ocean, where survival often depends on competition, they choose compassion. Their guidance turns chaos into calm, transforming the sea for a moment into a place of kindness. When the rescue is done, the dolphins don't linger. They circle once or twice, as if to confirm that peace has returned, then drift away, disappearing into the open water. The whales continue onward, back to the depths, carrying the memory of help that came from the small, swift beings of the shallows. The ocean has no applause, no witness but the waves, yet these moments remind us that empathy isn't a human invention. It's something older, simpler, woven into life itself. In a world vast enough to lose anyone, dolphins remind us that even the lost are never truly alone.
There's a sound that belongs entirely to the sea, soft, brief, and full of meaning. You hear it just after the water stills, when a dolphin rises through the surface
and exhales. It lasts less than a second, yet it carries something eternal, the sound of breath meeting the world, of life moving between silence and sky. Unlike humans, dolphins never breathe automatically. Every breath is a choice, a small, conscious act. They must rise, open the blowhole, release the old air, and draw in the new. It's quick but graceful, practiced over a lifetime. That soft sigh, that calm exhale, is both a rhythm of survival and a symbol of awareness. If you listen closely, the sound feels almost human, not strained or hurried, but measured, like the exhale of someone at peace. Each breath seems to carry the same tone as the ocean itself, patient, unhurried, steady. Between dives, they rest just long enough to renew, then disappear again beneath the waves, leaving behind only a ripple and the echo of that sigh. There's a subtle poetry in how they breathe. Every moment underwater requires trust, knowing when to rise, when to rest, when to release. The act becomes meditation. They live not in panic or haste, but in rhythm, a breathing pattern shaped by the sea's own pulse. In the way they move, you can almost hear mindfulness given form. When pods travel together, the pattern of their breathing becomes a symphony of gentle sighs. One after another, soft exhalations mark the surface, dozens of quiet voices in harmony, each one distinct, yet blending into a single rhythm of life. To watch it is to witness peace in motion. Calves learn this rhythm early. Their mothers guide them upward for their first breath, and that moment, the first exhale, the first sound, is the beginning of everything. It's their introduction to the surface world, to air and light and motion. From then on, every breath is both instinct and memory, a thread connecting them to the rhythm of the sea. For humans, the sound is hauntingly peaceful. Many divers describe it as unforgettable, that brief in the dark water, a reminder that something beautiful is nearby, alive and aware. It's a sound that holds warmth even in cold waves, the essence of calm itself. Perhaps that's why the dolphin's breath feels so meaningful. It's not just respiration, it's presence. Every exhale says, I am here, I am alive. In a world that never stops moving, they breathe not out of fear, but out of balance. And when the ocean grows still and the sun lowers over the horizon, you can almost imagine it, the soft sighs of dolphins breaking the quiet, one after another, steady as heartbeat. Not loud, not long, but infinite in peace. Because sometimes the simplest sound, a single calm breath, can carry the whole story of life.